Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new episode of Press YYZ. We're the only Canadian gaming podcast that you can catch live on Twitch every Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST, or today at 7 p.m. EST, as well as on podcast services and YouTube every Thursday. My name is Alexander Kazina. I'll be your host for this evening, and I am joined today by the frightening AJ Fraser.
Hey, hi, howdy.
The shadowy Belland, Nathan McInerney.
Yo.
And the Sultan of the Switch and everything Pokemon spoiler related, Mr. Mitch George.
I'll take it.
And finally, we are joined tonight by a very special guest. Hailing all the way from Vita Island in London, you may know him from Simply Sassy Vids and the Kinda Funny community. He's a long life Pokemon fan and the host of the Poke Ramble podcast. I'm talking about the one, the only Kumail.
Good evening.
Kumail, thank you for coming on Press YYZ. It is such an honor to have such illustrious Pokemon royalty amongst our ranks. How are you feeling this evening?
Apologize in advance to Nathan and AJ, who will get lost in all of the Pokemon discussion after like 3.5 minutes.
Listen
Wait,
here.
what's a Pokemon?
Exactly.
I am actually a very big Pokemon fan. I have just not been able to keep up with a lot of the more modern stuff because...
So we'll get to talking about my Pokemon
Whatever.
Sword Nuzlocke and your eyes are going to glaze over.
Yeah, probably. I have not been keeping up with that specifically.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much for starting this early for me. It's not every day you're treated to such treatment, so no, I really appreciate that, and I'm very happy that I can finally take you and Mitch up on your offer of coming on the podcast. So no, thank you once again.
By all means, this has been a very kind of long in the works thing. Unfortunately, because of complications, we weren't able to get you on camera, but I gotta say, you supplied me with this nice little logo that you have that represents you on all these social platforms that you're on. And I gotta say, real nice logo, Kumail. I really love
I know.
it.
I was
That's
really
a good
lucky
Pikachu.
with good friends. No, it's done by Suika Sass on Twitter. SUIKAS. I think, but yeah, you'll find her on Twitter if you search Suika. So
Go check her out. Go check out her artwork. I'm sure it is fantastic. Before we get into the show proper, a reminder, as always, that we here at Press YYZ stand against discrimination of any kind. While we appreciate however you choose to give back to our show, there's no better way to support us than by being excellent to each other. One quick little bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow, Nathan, you are going to be playing through to the end of Mortal Kombat 11 story mode.
Yeah, we got 5 chapters left to go in the Aftermath DLC. So yeah, and we're going to see what happens. I was surprised with the direction the DLC took because it kind of rewrote the ending of the first game, and now of the original part. So now I'm very curious to see how they end the story and if they can stick the landing. It's NetherRealms. I feel like they can. So we'll see.
Mitch has his hand up. He has just some crazy ass Mortal Kombat 11 take to share with the room.
No. I had something a little personal I wanted to add to this. I just forgot to add it, if that's cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I turned 30 this weekend, which is terrifying. But I've also, as an adult, decided I'm going to use my adult time off from work, and I've taken Friday off and plan on playing probably like 12 to 15 hours of Legends Arceus on Friday to celebrate, as well as other things like Halo, Jackbox, whatever people are around for and want to do. We're going to get into some shenanigans. So if you're at all interested, Friday all day at twitch.tv/Mr. Mitch George, I'll be playing all the games and probably crying a bunch at Pokemon things. Yes, AJ.
Do you want to just do that on here if it's 12 hours so that we could just get that out of the way?
No,
that's
not right.
No, we committed to the other thing. So
Yes.
that's going to have to happen eventually.
I don't
Yes.
think that
We're just figuring out the timing. We've had a very busy schedule, and we're just trying to get it figured out. So we're sorry about the wait, guys. We are talking about this regularly and making sure we can get the right weekend. Coordinating 4 to 5 schedules isn't easy. So we're working on it.
And I also want to say, I don't think that Mr. Mitch George wants to play any Phasmophobia on his birthday. I think that's.
I mean, I would play Phasmophobia if people are around. If someone gifts 5 subs and wants me to play Phasmophobia with them, I'll play Phasmophobia with them. It's no big deal.
All right. Well, the offer's on the table. Okay. On tonight's
you guys
episode,
just recently have like a 12-hour stream. Sorry.
Not a
well,
problem.
I say recently, but maybe in the past couple of months or so.
Yeah, it was December we did one, and we hit a threshold to do a second one in the new year.
Nice. Nice. You guys are very dedicated. That's all I'll say.
We try.
Yeah.
It was fun, honestly. With this many voices, like I'm gonna struggle on Friday to do that on my own, but doing with other people, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go take a break for a bit. You can do that because there's other people to pick up the slack.
Awesome.
You're gonna shave your face again?
No, there will be no milestones, no incentives, nothing. I'm just gonna be hanging out playing video games and not shaving my face again for charity.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do another 12-hour stream later in the year for charity, but I just want to sit down and play. I don't want to focus on those things. I want to focus on Pokemon. Pokemon has been my life, and Pokemon is going to continue to be my life for the next month or two at least.
Does it feel a bit strange the fact that it's essentially going to be February and you've got a new Pokemon game? Like that
I'm so happy.
Has broken my mind. Like I'm so used to coming to the end of the year and having something new to play with, not like
the Pokemon company said, "Hey, Mitch, we know you're going to struggle with, turning 30 this year, so we're going to give you a very special gift the weekend of your birthday, and that is Pokemon Legends Arceus." And I could not be happier.
Happy for you.
It's a wonderful distraction. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, it is strange release cadence of they just put out the Generation 4 remakes and now they're doing this, but
maybe they knew the Generation 4 remakes weren't going to be well received, so they wanted to have this one in the tank to help fix that.
I mean, they weren't negatively received.
They weren't negative, but people weren't like
they weren't
yes,
jazzed
you can play
about
the
it.
Xbox.
They could have easily stretched it,
It's-
which is so strange to me. They could have just stretched it till the end of the year, and then whatever else they had in the tank, they could have left till next year. But we'll see what happens.
There's going to be more for this year. They're already. I know you, Kumail and Cozy have tried to remain leak free, but I have gone in and turned on notifications for all of the big Pokemon leakers. I needed to know everything. And they're already teasing announcements that are going to happen this year for stuff for later this year. So I think we're still going to get lots of fun Pokemon stuff.
I just need to know, is Pokemon Sleep coming this year? That's all I need to know right now.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm kind of curious. I wonder if this game is like an especially difficult game to beta test in the pandemic, because you have to assume that sleeping is a component of testing out whether it works as intended, and maybe that's difficult to do in the current circumstances in which we live, and that sort of delayed it by a little bit. Either way,
I think the delays are more. I think the delays are actually more supply chain issues. Of they were making this new peripheral for it, and maybe they're having difficulties getting components and things like that.
Go plus.
Exactly.
Well,
so I think that might be the bigger concern is getting those things manufactured. And I'm sure they did a cost benefit analysis to manufacturing these things and putting it out during a pandemic or just waiting. And I guess they decided to wait and see.
I think the biggest issue they've had is communication about it. I mean, fair enough. You're going to delay it because you don't have the peripherals. The fact that we've had 2 years at this point with radio silence is astonishing. It really is.
I mean
it's not though, because we're also talking about the parent company of the Pokemon company being Nintendo, and look back at the Nintendo Wii heart rate monitor or the heart rate sensor that they talked about one time and then it disappeared and they officially canceled it 6 years later, which I'm sure this has probably ended up in that same bucket.
I would give them that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I would give them that benefit of doubt, but because it's only 30% of Nintendo, what was the other 60 or 70% doing with
I mean, I'm sure there's been other projects canned from the Pokemon company specifically. I do expect that this year, we were getting Legends Arceus at the beginning of the year. I imagine before the end of the year, I'm hoping they take more time before doing a Generation 9 and we get, let's say, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl DLC or Legends Arceus DLC this year and then a big game next year because it gives them more time to space it out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Let's Go Johto this year.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I was going to say earlier, Pokemon Sleep exists in such this weird space where simultaneously everybody wants to make fun of it because it's Pokemon Sleep. And Nintendo / the Pokemon company, probably understandably assumes, it's fine if we don't really talk about where this game is currently at because it's Pokemon Sleep. And yet everybody is asking about it at all times. Everybody, as much as they want to make fun of it, is really interested in it. Yes, AJ.
I just had an idea. They're going to start from the ground up with Pokemon Sleep, but they're going to partner with Google again, like they did with Pokemon Go and that AR thing that they had with some of their phones. And because Google just recently, I think early last year, bought Fitbit, they're going to incorporate Pokemon Sleep into Fitbit watches and go from there. Think about it.
It won't happen because they already tried that with Pokemon Go and discontinued the Apple Watch version or the Apple Watch complication that linked into it because no one was using it. So they just removed it entirely. So
jerks.
It's
Jerks.
Not a hill they're planning to die on, I don't think.
Let's space out our Pokemon content a little bit on this podcast. Nathan, I see you're glazing over a little bit.
Never.
So I'm gonna toss you a bone. Tell us a little bit about what's been happening in the world of Forza Horizon.
So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I got the final achievement in Forza Horizon 5. It wasn't available to get until last Thursday because of seasonal content. Thank you. So yeah, now I have, what do we call it? I platinumed it. Did I do it right?
1,000 gamer score.
1,000 gamer score. They need to have a better term for that. We've discussed this before. I'm not going to rehash that.
Listen, they set the trend. PlayStation trophies copied them.
They did, but they still need to have an ultimate achievement or something. You don't have to call it a platinum. Call it like the ultimate or the completionist or something that just says, "Hey."
On the Giant Bomb website when they had tracking there and just called it like they ranked it like S rank was you got all the achievements and like certain achievements had certain ranks and it was cool.
So, but then beyond that, I decided to pick up the DLC for Forza Horizon 4 because it's on sale, and so now I've been playing the Lego Forza, which honestly they should make a whole game out of. I think like, well, it is an expansion pack. It's not like it's got a bit of content to it, but I wouldn't mind seeing a whole Forza game made in Lego. I think that could be a lot of fun and a unique way to use it.
Would it be something you'd want to see from Playground Games or something from TT Games or a collaboration between the two?
Would that be similar?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, AJ.
Would that be similar to the Hot Wheels Unleashed in a way?
Kind of. I think you'd probably Hot Wheels Unleashed is like real Hot Wheels on like in your house, like if you set up a crazy track. Where I think the Lego, you'd be more in a Lego world, so it'd just be like a open world Lego like racer is what I'm imagining. Because the one big issue is that but my kids pointed out. You play in Lego cars, you drive around a Lego thing, but whenever you win a race, your avatar is not a Lego avatar. It's just like a regular character.
It's a dude, yeah.
It's a dude. So it would have been. So I think they could commit to a whole Lego game, and yeah, I would like to see Playground Games make it. They've got enough on their plates, but TT Games has enough issues going on. I wouldn't want to see them doing more. Also, their driving mechanics are almost as good as Halo.
Yeah, you don't want to see TT Games in this brand new engine they spent years developing go from saying, hey, this is going to be an engine made for third-person action games and instead pivot and make it about racing.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen that be successful before of taking an engine meant for one thing and making it do something else, right?
It could work. Let's see how the driving in Lego Skywalker sack of what?
Feels. Sack of what, Nathan?
Saga?
Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. Yeah.
I will say the idea of a Lego racing game is incredible. Honestly, just thinking about all the customization you could do with the cars, just building cars from scratch. And
there was a Lego racing game, wasn't there?
There definitely have been like a couple, but it's been a while since we've had one. Like we've not had
the one I'm thinking is we had Lego Racers, which released on Windows PC, the PlayStation, the Nintendo 64, and the Game Boy Color in 1999 or 2001, depending on the console.
What's funny about that game is I have to bet that game probably still looks decent enough because it's all done within the Lego aesthetic.
Yeah, it depends how well the 3D and the polygons have aged, really.
I remember...
I wonder if it's on Steam.
Last year, I went and checked out Lego Alpha Team, which is like an action-ish game from the early 2000s. And that game, like again, it's a PC game from the early 2000s, but it still looks okay because it's largely again done within the Lego aesthetic. It's the power of Lego.
Also, I dug out Lego Dimensions. I found a copy for Xbox One in a dock that'll work on the Xbox One.
Ooh.
So I think I have my streaming ideas intact for the next few weeks.
Did you
after
ever
more
end up
combat.
playing the copy of that game that I mailed to you?
I did play a little bit of it. It's just a thing where like the pipeline of stuff that I have on my plate keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And as excited as I am to play Lego Dimensions, like it's not a priority in terms of it being a game that I have to play to be part of a, larger conversation happening right now in the industry. I will.
It sounds like there's going to be a conversation with Nathan playing it. I'm just saying.
Yep. I will 1,000%. I'm not guaranteeing that I'll be able to get around to it by next week, but I 1,000% will play it sometime within the first few months of this year.
Awesome.
I'm excited to dive into the Portal because this is where the true Portal sequel is for Portal 2.
Technically,
it's in Lego Dimensions. So
question.
Yes.
Toys to Life. Is it going to make a comeback this decade, or is it going to take a break?
It is because of the Microsoft acquisition of Activision.
I was just going to say that.
Skylanders will be back. Guitar Hero's coming back. All the plastic things are coming back into your houses.
I don't think
just
Microsoft's going to
26.
invest in
We can't do this. We can't do this.
So Skylanders is coming back. It's going to come back without toys. They're going to use NFTs.
Oh my god, that's incredible! I'm not interested in NFTs, but that's brilliant. That's how you do that.
No,
Amazing.
It's not. It's really not. You want to talk about something that's going to kill the planet? It's not plastic toys. It's goddamn NFTs.
So you want NFCs, not NFTs?
I just want to have fun playing video games and not have people arguing about fake ape posters that Jimmy Fallon is shilling on his own show, even though he's invested in it.
Yeah.
The world is weird.
It is.
Why is Game Freak trending on Twitter?
Don't look it up. I got spoiled to something relating to Pokemon Arceus because it was trending on Twitter.
And I have spoiled myself to literally everything. Nothing can be spoiled at this point. I'm so happy.
Just tell us if it's good news or bad news, Mitch.
No, it's just trending because I keep looking up Pokemon stuff on Twitter because I can't help myself.
I think Mitch has a problem, guys.
Okay.
It's time for the poke intervention.
AJ, tell us your latest Project Zomboid update.
Yeah, so I've spoken about it a bunch of times. Kumail, I don't know if you've heard of Project Zomboid at all. It's just really quick. It's a third person kind of top down isometric open world survival roguelike thing, and it's very systems heavy, and it's, for me, has been incredibly addictive. So they recently released the multiplayer patch, and so I've been playing mostly single player up to this point, but I finally decided to try and play a little bit more multiplayer, just not with people, but just jumping onto a server and hoping for the best. Of course, being a zombie apocalypse / survival thing, all the loot and good loot and stuff is pretty well gone. There are some servers that have loot respawning and stuff, but that means it's going to be very hard to start on some servers. So I started on this one server, and I just figured you know what? I'm going to go try and figure something out and see if I can find something. I stumbled across a safe house that some people had made, but they were all offline. And so I was able to grab all of the gear that I needed, and I made a good run for it and kind of got out of there. And so now I'm off kind of on my own trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do on this server, if I'm going to even stick around on it. I was able to find a car with enough gas to kind of take me off to the outskirts of town, and I'm going to try and build a zombie apocalypse life for myself as best I can.
So may I ask then? So it's not a level-based sort of game. You've got servers, and say every day there's zombies that respawn, and your basic aim is to make sure that you've got enough to
So
survive?
it's-
Is there like an end point to this, or
So the game starts off with just saying this is how you died, right? And so essentially, it's like you're kind of telling your own story of how you survived this apocalypse, right? There is there's lore in this world and VHS tapes that you can find that kind of tell like stories of the world before and things like that. There's random kind of like scenes that you can come across where like, hey, this was like a safe house for some survivors, but you go inside it and they're all dead on the inside. They're not even zombies. They just died for whatever reason, and stuff. But yeah, it's just an open world, and it's survival, but don't let that kind of scare you, because technically like every roguelike is a survival, right? Because you're trying to get as far as you can. You're trying to survive as long as you can. You can give yourself goals by ranking up your stats, which is very difficult to do, but they don't make it impossible. And that's stats like carpentry, foraging, the combat with axes and use of axes or things like that, right? Blunt weapons, aiming, reloading your gun, whatever. You can rank up those stats the more you use them. You have to kind of keep in mind like fitness of your character and the overall health of your character. There are some like deeper like nutritional facts in the game. You want to have a balanced diet, but like your character is not going to know exactly what their diet looks like unless you are just making sure to keep your diet varied based on all the canned food items you have or the farming stuff that you've grown. It's so systems heavy and deep. It's incredibly satisfying when things go right, and it's incredibly devastating when things go wrong.
I very much like the recording screen of your death. Like this is how you died.
So that actually the video that Cozy is showing there is actually a one that a YouTuber made, and that's something she did on her own, and put in there. They were testing out pipe bomb weapons and stuff, and like, hey, she had gotten bitten, she was gonna die anyway, she was gonna turn into a zombie anyway, so they may as well test out some of these new weapons that they put in with the new patch on her, right? And so I highly recommend watching some of Nurse's let's plays if you're interested in this at all. Ambiguous Amphibian does good ones, and then there's Private Lime as well. He also does some good, like mostly story like let's plays of it, where they're telling their own story as they make their way through the apocalypse, and like then. Yeah, they're kind of role playing it a little bit. Cool. It's super cool.
Has this made you tempted to watch Zombieland again and just like get all the rules like cardio, double tap?
Yeah, absolutely. That's stuff you kind of have to consider as well in this game. Nice. But yeah, this game has been out for quite a while. It came out in like 2013 in very early access, but it's changed a lot since then. The development team has had some like tragedy with regards to like stolen laptops that they didn't quite back up all of their code and had to start fresh on some of it. There was a whole thing, a whole good story. And you're a kind of funny fan, so you might be familiar with one Danny O'Dwyer, right?
Yeah.
So he and his no clip thing, he recently put out a podcast talking about Project Zomboid, and it sounds like he is in the first stages of coming up with a documentary, a no-clip documentary for Project Zomboid. So keep thinking about that, as checking that out as well if you're interested at all in this game. Go ahead, Mitch.
Total non sequitur, but you do mention kind of funny, and I do have to say that one brand that they turned me on from one of their ads was MeUndies, and that is literally the only thing I will put on a bottom. And
this is not a sponsorship, by the way.
Not at all. I placed an order in December 30th. I placed an order from this damn site, and finally, after almost an entire calendar month, it is out for delivery here in Canada. So just the PSA, if you're not in America and you order from an American company,
It's going
It's
to
just
take
going to take a while right now. You just got to deal with it.
Just before you move on, it's incredible how many games are getting like a second chance of life / a renaissance, and this is just another story that makes me happy.
Yeah, it hasn't reached like Among Us levels that Among Us did in 2020, but it did hit a significant jump out of nowhere with the new multiplayer patch. And so I can only imagine if they were a stock, I'd buy those stonks right now.
It's just nice from a developer point of view as well that your game that you worked
Absolutely.
so hard on, people are finally like noticing it. I mean, yeah,
Absolutely.
I love a good story.
Do you think, AJ, that this would make for a great game to play during our second 12-hour live stream?
I actually think it would, and I think there's a couple other people in our small Press YYZ community who might actually like to participate in that.
Definitely.
Good, because I don't really feel like buying another game right now.
Yeah, that's
I'm perfectly honest. There's so many games to play right now. I'm like, $20. Can I really do that when I got Pokemon and then Sifu's out in a couple of weeks and then Elden Ring a couple of weeks after that? Like, there are so many games coming.
Keep in mind, your birthday is coming up. So if anybody has his Steam ID.
No, stop. Also, Horizon. Dark Sturdius in our Twitch chat, twitch.tv/PressYYZ mentions Horizon. Like, that's there too. Like, I am a PlayStation fanboy. Like, I go to bat for the brand even when they do stupid stuff. Horizon is the one game coming out in the next 2 months. I'm like, yeah, I can wait. I don't need to be part of that conversation.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. We have an interesting history with Horizon on this podcast where
I see.
Infamously I played through the game for the first time, not to completion, but like partway through last year, and I brought it up and everyone else is kind of like, yeah, Horizon, that was a thing. And I
enjoyed the mechanics, but it took me 3 attempts to play that game, and I couldn't. You could put a gun to my head and say, "Tell me what the plot of Horizon was," and I'd get through maybe the first 2 to 3 minutes of like explaining the first hour or 2 of the game. Be like, I don't know what else happened. Just pull the trigger.
I think maybe part of the reason why, and obviously this might not apply to you, but I think a lot of people during that time were too busy playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I guess for a lot of people who are not maybe PlayStation fanboys, perhaps just some sort of excuse, probably don't take much stock on Horizon like they do Breath of the Wild. I'm the opposite. I think Breath of the Wild, Horizon's way better.
I loved the fighting the humans in the game. I didn't love when you got to some of the more difficult robots. I just found myself being overwhelmed and having trouble taking them down. And it just wasn't fun for me in the long run. It did a lot of things I really liked. I liked exploring the world. I liked finding is it tall necks? Lawn necks? Lawn necks.
Yeah.
And climbing up them. I like those puzzles of it. I just found like the enemies were very, very difficult. I'm hoping that the combat mechanics to make it a little bit easier and gives you more ways to take things down.
Also, if they just explain the sort of ways to take them down with what weapons are going to be good against X monster.
Also, Nathan, who are we kidding? That comes out the same week as King of Fighters 15, and we know that's all you're going to be playing.
That's quite possible.
All right,
King of Fighters 15 looks dope.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very busy December with games. Endwalker had come out, so I was very much focusing on the Endwalker story.
Hold on, I just want to pause real quickly.
Oh, sorry.
The way that I queued up you taking your moment to enter into the spotlight, that was real awkward. I said, "All right, Kumail," like I was accusing you of having done something awful. I meant to,
Kumail, what the fuck?
I'm very much used to that. Trust me.
I meant to be like, "All right, Kumail, we have all talked long enough. You are our special guest on the podcast. Go ahead." I paused a little bit too long, however, and you took the wheel from me, which I appreciate you doing because we don't want.
I'm having a good time.
Long. Nevertheless, what have you been up to?
Sorry. No, I've had a busy December with like the Endwalker story, where I very much was doing the Mitch thing of playing like 12 hours at a time, getting through that story. And then
the thing with
like,
Endwalker was incredible. The fact they had to like suspend sales of Final Fantasy Online because of Endwalker coming out just blew my mind. Like, how does that happen?
And again, we're talking about like stories that make you feel good. Daniel Dwyer, for example, did a no-clip documentary about this game, and like seeing where they were to where they are now is absolutely insane to me. But I've been a bit in a phase where after I play too many games or too much of a game, I kind of tend to slow down a bit, and so January's been a bit of a dry month where I've been logging into Final Fantasy and trying my hand at like the harder sort of content at the moment. And so yeah, that's where I am currently. I mean, I've just been playing some Final Fantasy 14. I've been managing to get friends to move over to my server now, so I've got quite a few friends to play this with. But I haven't been playing too hard on it, maybe like an hour a day. But there's another game that I've been playing at the moment, and that's Pokemon Unite, which is a game that I've been playing like pretty much every single day because I've had a friend that's been joining me for it, and I usually play maybe 1 or 2 ranked matches, or sometimes maybe 5 to 10 ranked matches a day. And actually, just today, I finally got to that elusive master rank, and I was well happy with that. So now, no matter what happens, I've made it to the top. So yeah, that's just another game I've been playing very casually. And I guess the last game I've been playing is Pokemon Masters on mobile. Again, more Pokemon, more stories.
That's one I haven't heard of, or maybe I have.
So that was the one that came out 2 or 3 years ago, where it was like the Pokemon mechanics, but it was like 3-on-3.
It was announced at the same time as
Like
Pokemon
almost?
Sleep, would you believe? So, yeah, it came out nearly
It
2.5
came out like
years
right
ago
after
now.
that announcement, didn't it?
Was it kind of board game like?
No, that
maybe?
was
It was a
I forget the name
gotcha.
of that one. Yeah, I mean the way Pokemon Masters is structured is like Mitch says, it's 3 versus 3 essentially. And then there's other types of content they've introduced now, which is like 3 versus 1 against big bosses and stuff like that. But what I really like about Pokemon Masters is one, there's lots of great stories within it. Some that relate to the main line games, and some which are like original, unique stories. 2 is very free to play friendly, where 99% of the content can be cleared very easily by free to play players. 3, the gacha mechanics, probably the most generous I've seen in a mobile game before. When you compare something like Genshin Impact, which gives you like 0.6% chance to pull, the top end character, Pokemon Masters give you on average a 7 to 12% chance of getting a top end character. So
on that point of games with gotchas and pulls and stuff like that, have any of you checked out Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel?
Yes.
What's a
So
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, you're not that old. Come on.
I am.
translates
What's a
to
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Blue
King
Eyes
of
White
Games.
Think of poker,
Dark
but with,
Magician.
like,
Come on.
images.
So it is a card game based, or there's an anime based on a card game, and the card game has been going for years at this point. And they just released a free to play, essentially their like competitive app where you have to go in and buy packs and build a deck and do all of these things. And the pull rates there are actually kind of generous for a game like this. I was very surprised, as well as the ability to like deconstruct cards you don't need to craft other cards you might need. Like it's very well thought out.
The
But sorry,
fact they
Kumail,
give
I
you,
interrupted.
like, some very good decks at the beginning of the game as well. You get to choose from 3 different decks, and those, like, I remember running into someone online that was running the Blue Eyes deck, and I was finished by turn 2 because of
Wow.
how well they played. Yeah, no, yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it's a good game, and hopefully it doesn't become egregious, because I've seen like mobile games where at the beginning of their life cycle they're very generous, they're quite good to the consumer, and like 7 years later now they're just absolutely milking the game before they shut it down, which is a
Pokemon
shame.
Unite was that way at launch too, with all the launch bonuses, and you could like buy currency at a discount and all these things, and that all went away.
Yeah. They've made it a lot more free to play friendly compared to the first month, where they gave you you can basically get 3 items which you can attach to your Pokemon to level 30 for free, and so
Nice.
the disparity between you facing off against people who paid at the very beginning compared to people who start now has been lowered. Now it's more of a skill based game, but yeah, I
You
totally
should
appreciate
really
that.
jump back into it.
Yeah, that's all you need is someone to be there with you and say maybe 1 or 2 games when you fancy it on your mobile, or
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
Before we move on,
I figured that was going to become a pooping game, and it never did.
No, I didn't shit on it, but
maybe we
I
should
expected me
move
to
on
like.
now.
No, I mean
Sorry.
like a game I play while I'm on the toilet instead of infinitely scrolling TikTok.
That's fair.
TikTok's
I'm gonna
so
stop.
good.
I'm having a lot of fun with TikTok. I've been posting some TikToks and stuff too. It's a good time.
To jump back over to Pokemon Masters for just a sec, I've always been intrigued by Masters because I'm the kind of guy that tends to like the lore and characters of the world of Pokemon, and I feel like the baseline games don't give us enough of them sometimes. But I've had enough experience with other gacha games in the past to know that a few years in, they can get a little bit complicated and daunting to get into for new time users. Do you feel like that's true of Pokemon Masters? At this point in the game, is it kind of daunting to try out for the first time?
I totally understand. Like when you install the game and you're greeted with all these different menus of different things, I will say to an extent, you can get a bit overwhelmed when you see all the different menus and all the different things. And that's why on the Poke Ramble podcast channel, I've made a beginner's guide. I've made it last year, but it pretty much still applies to this year, and it basically takes you through the basics of what's what. They've streamlined the game a lot more, but yeah, I mean, if you do need a guide on on starting the game, then that's there for you. But I would always say just jump in and.
I was going to say, after I guessed it on your show, I tried. I'm like, I'm going to jump into this. This is going to be great. Kumail hyped it up so much. It's going to be so much fun. And I got overwhelmed by the menus. I'm like, I'm good. This was fine.
Yeah. It's one of the things. It just depends on like how persistent you're going to be with it. But yeah, it's hard for me to sort of like tell people to get into it because of that. But yeah, as I said, if you're really keen to start, then there's a guide there for you.
Cool.
But here's the other thing. Worst comes to worst, just go on YouTube. There's plenty of people who like record the story chapters for you and all the kind of events. So if you feel like you're missing out on all that kind of stuff, there's plenty of people on YouTube that have recorded it, so you can always watch it like that.
Mitch.
Yes, sir.
You've talked quite a bit throughout this podcast thus far about the Pokemons.
That's all I can do. That's all my brain can comprehend at this point.
Anything Pokemon related that you have not talked about thus far that also is not related to our topic of the show that you want to get off your chest?
I'm doing a Nuzlocke right now in Pokemon Sword, which has been a blast.
That's right.
Nice.
How's that going?
So for anyone who doesn't know, I know AJ, I mentioned Nuzlocke earlier and your eyes glazed over.
I know what Nuzlocke is. I've known what a Nuzlocke is for a very long time. I'm too afraid to do it myself.
I was, and then I committed. I'm like, all right, this is going to happen on stream. I'm going to be fully committed to it, and I'm having a great time with it, honestly. For those who don't know, a Nuzlocke are essentially self-imposed rules to make Pokemon hard, where you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter on a route. And if a Pokemon faints in any battle, you can no longer use it, as well as setting your battle style
as good as dead.
So you don't get the option to switch between Pokemon when an opposing trainer's Pokemon faints, which adds a significant amount of challenge to the game. And I've had a really good time with it so far. We're almost at the end of the game. I think all we have left now are the legendary encounters and the champion. So I'm hoping the plan, at least, if I can get streaming early enough tomorrow before the launch of Pokemon Legends Arceus, is to finish the Nuzlocke, hang out, do some raids and stuff, and then jump into that game when that comes out. Because I've needed something to, like, towards the end of last year, and you'll notice it if you go back to episodes of this show, I wasn't around all that much. I was feeling kind of burnt out on the whole being on the internet thing. And that still holds true to some degree. I think I need to do a better job of separating myself from it. But I needed something to really make me want to stream and to play games on the internet and to share my passions with other people. And Pokemon did that for me. And I'm really glad that I did that leading up to Legends Arceus, because it's made me that much more excited for that game when it drops.
Can I ask, in terms of your Nuzlocke in Sword and Shield, I haven't seen anyone do a Nuzlocke of Sword and Shield thus far, but in terms of the wild area, how does that work? Can you pick a Pokemon from the overworld, or do you have to go into the grass and pick one from there?
To each their own. The rules I imposed on myself is overworld encounters. You cannot catch something from an overworld encounter. So if the first encounter ended up being an overworld encounter because I couldn't avoid it, whatever, I just run away. The only encounters I was allowed to capture as part of the Nuzlocke were those from random encounters.
And I don't want to spoil your playthrough, obviously, but I see you've got 7 deaths. So could you tell us about one of the deaths?
It is way more than that. If you go to the end of that video, it's more than 7.
Can you tell me about one that you're actually truly devastated about? Maybe like, and the nickname for that Pokemon, perhaps. Like, or what's one partner that you lost that you really
So
didn't want to?
the one that hurt the most was the first, I think. I was very much attached to this Butterfree that I caught. It was the first Pokemon
Oh,
I
no.
caught after the thing started. I'm like, oh, I'm stuck with this friggin'
man.
Butterfree. This is going to be awful.
This is just taking after the anime now.
I was gonna
Pretty
say,
much, yeah. The first wild Pokemon I caught was a Caterpie. So I was like, oh, whatever. This thing's going to be, fodder at some point for stuff. Turned out to be like the powerhouse of my entire team. And the big thing that it was good for was captures. So the fact that Butterfree's ability Compound Eyes increases accuracy of the moves you use, and it had Sleep Powder, meant that I had basically like a 98% chance of Sleep Powder hitting. So it was amazing for catching Pokemon in this Nuzlocke. And then I lost it trying to catch a it was not Boldore, but the first Roggenrola.
Roggenrola.
So I was trying to catch this Roggenrola, rock type. I've got a bug flying type. Everything will be fine, right? So I put the thing to sleep turn 1, and turn 1, the stupid thing wakes up and kills me in one hit with a rock type attack.
Nice, yeah.
And it had a lovely nickname given to it by my Twitch chat of credit card debt.
Damn.
But when I did inevitably catch that Roggenrola, its nickname became Debt Free. But then it also died later in the run. But
I bet you weren't too
didn't
upset
hit
by
as hard as that Butterfree, because it was a perfect capture tool for this Nuzlocke. It would have been great, but alas, we lost.
We got to move
card
away from
debt
like
far too
calling
early.
Pokemon tools thing before we have certain organizations after us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you tell us what Roggenrola looks like?
Oh, Roggenrola. I assume
He did say it was a rock type. I gave you that advantage, so now you know it is at least a rock type.
Okay, so I assume it's some sort of rock frog, a stone frog with a guitar, and that has drums as wheels.
I think you nailed it.
I'll be right back.
I mean,
I'm just gonna tweet Masuda to hire this guy because that's a brilliant Pokemon.
And he pretty much just described Carpool rather than
honestly, that was as good as a goddamn ice cream cone or a trash bag.
Hey, you joke! I caught an ice cream cone in this Nuzlocke. I'm gonna use this thing. It's gonna be great, and I didn't use it once.
I always say that people need to think of it this way: that things in the Pokemon world based off the Pokemon rather than the other way around. That's how I always think of it, and it works. I've got that disbelief now that I can get past. So, ice cream in the Pokemon world was invented after people saw Vanilla.
It's based on Vanillite,
yeah.
But also in the Pokemon world, at least at the very least in the second generation, there is mention of potentially eating bits and pieces of Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
the Slowpoke tail. So there's a not zero chance that somebody has literally gone to eat the ice cream cone Pokemon. I forget their names.
There's also a lot of lore in Pokemon mythos Vanillish. Vanillite, Vanillish, and Vanilluxe. There is a lot of lore built around the fact that Sinnoh is one of, if not the first Pokemon region, or like the first region that had Pokemon, and it kind of spread out from there. So even if they're saying these things of eating Slowpoke tails and stuff in Johto, we all know Sinnoh is the OG.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Intriguing. Over the course of the past week, I've been keeping busy by playing games on my Xbox Series X. One of the games I've been playing is a little game called Nobody Saves the World. We here at Press YYZ are currently playing through it as part of our latest whichever you want to call it, initiative on our end. We still have not come up with
YYZ video game book club thing that doesn't have a name yet. TBD.
Give us a name if you got a good name.
We don't want it to just be our play along game forever. Myself and Nathan played a little bit of that game on stream on Monday, actually. And while I don't know that we're ready quite just yet to share our full thoughts in it, I can say that it is pretty fun.
I should probably start it, eh?
Yeah, if you're going to talk about it next week.
Next week? Oh, no, there's no chance I'm playing it before next week.
I mean...
remember, Pokemon comes out on Friday, guys. Pokemon!
Yes, we know.
AJ, you're muted, I think.
You're right. It was. Play it now, and then you can.
But I need to finish the Nuzlocke.
Okay, fine. Do it.
It's Drinkbox, support a Canadian studio.
I will, but also Pokemon.
I will also say, not to get super deep into our thoughts on the game is like a little bit samey.
I just lost the game.
Not necessarily in like a bad sense of like it's incredibly repetitive and monotonous, but like quite a few hours in, I don't know if the final few dungeons of this game are going to be a drastic, massive turnaround from what I've been experiencing in the game up until this point. So even if you don't manage to beat it by next week, Mitch, at least give it a good, honest shot. Because I feel like a few hours will kind of give you a good flavor for what the majority of the experience has to offer.
Is it like a side?
I think you underestimate how much Pokemon means to me as a human being.
Yes, apparently.
There is no way any game other than Legends Arceus will get booted up. Unless there's a decent weekly drop in Halo next week. But even then, that's Tuesday, so I got time.
To answer your question, Kumail, Nobody Saves the World is basically a kind of like Diablo, A Link to the Past inspired top-down action RPG where you're basically swapping between all these various different characters that can transform and swap between each other. You have like a magician that you can play as, a slug. It's very kind of like idiosyncratic. And
is this the one that has like 100 different characters that you go through?
17.
Which
never mind.
It still feels like
close.
I mean, it's pretty close. Yeah, I was going to say it feels like a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carry the one.
Yeah, and it's from the. You'll appreciate this. It's from the same developers behind the Guacamelee games, Drinkbox.
Nice.
Yep, it's really good. I beat it last night. I'm almost done maxing all the forms out, and then I'm going to start my new game plus run to get the last achievement. So.
Before we talk about our full thoughts on Nobody Saves the World, however, I want to share a few thoughts on the other big game that I played on my Xbox Series X this past week, which is Quantum Break. I've talked in the past on this podcast about how I occasionally listen to another podcast called Respawn Aim Fire that occasionally does playthroughs of bigger games over the course of a month. They are playing through Quantum Break this month, so I jumped in and played it to completion. Quick question. Anyone else here played this game?
No.
No, really?
Even barely. I played it for some sort of points for Microsoft Rewards. I had to get to a certain point, and then I stopped.
So after I beat Control, which is the last game that Remedy put out, not counting Alan Wake Remastered, I never felt particularly inclined to kind of go back and experience this game because it kind of felt like the kind of culture surrounding the game was kind of like, that was sort of like not a bad game, but a misstep. Having now played it, like I really do feel like, and I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, like there's no game that I've ever played more in the past that feels like the video game equivalent of brutalist architecture. This game is like insanely beautiful from a technical perspective. It's flawless. A lot of the like crazy kind of time ripple effects that's going on in this game, because the whole premise of this game is that time is breaking down and you can manipulate time in all these crazy ways to obliterate your enemies. It's ultra super duper impressive, but unfortunately the game really is kind of lacking in a really kind of strong emotional core. There's nothing like, for example, the relationship between Polaris and Jesse Faden in Control that's sort of like pushing the narrative forward and kind of keeping you, the player, emotionally engaged in what's going on. And it's, I would say, kind of the game's biggest downfall. And it's a little unfortunate because everything else in the game is really, really solid. I even kind of loved the whole live action TV segments of the game, which, as you might recall, the whole deal with this game when it first came out is Remedy's like, hey, we inserted these live action TV segments at interstitial points throughout the game that will change in response to the choices that you make during the gameplay. But even with those, I was like, these are really well made, well acted, great actors, but like it just feels kind of hollow.
Do you have any interest in watching the show?
You mean, like, I mean, I watched...
Oh, there's a show for that.
Yeah.
Wait.
Quantum Break was released simultaneously with a TV show.
But hold on.
That is wild.
Is
That's
this-
the first
Isn't
time
that
I'm
built
ever
into the
hearing that.
game
I
though,
was
where
gonna
you like
say-
watch
Yeah.
the episodes of the show in between gameplay segments or
Is
something?
that how that works? I thought it was
thought
a
so.
separate thing that tied
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, the Quantum Break TV show is the show that you experience in the game.
People were just
Oh,
upset
I
because
didn't
there
know
was
that.
like an extra like 60 or 70 gigabytes worth of HD video you had to download to play this game when all of that
Understandable.
space was taken up by a TV show.
TV.
Wait, so the TV show's in the game. You can access the TV show from the game.
Yeah, it's like
Oh my
God.
you have like a TV segment followed by a game segment followed by like it goes back and forth
Oh.
between TV and game.
Okay.
And again, the TV segments are good. Like, as far as like kind of console gimmick defining games go, Quantum Break definitely ranks pretty high up there compared to some other examples that we could point to from that era. But I beat it. I, sat down, put the controller down. I definitely, if anything, gained a greater appreciation for Remedy that they managed to pull off a game that, looked and felt this sublime back in 2016. But I don't feel particularly inclined to go back and play it again. Whew. All right.
All right.
With that out of the way, let's go ahead and transition into our topic of the show for this week. We are tier ranking every single mythical Pokemon in existence based on how good or bad they would be as pets. I was particularly inspired to come up with this particular tier ranking segment because I've actually been on the lookout recently for a dog that I can adopt. It's probably not something that's going to happen for quite a few months, so if any of you out there are like, oh, no, Cozy, hold on, I have a quick little piece of advice I need to give you. You need to know this about renting a dog. Don't worry, you still have plenty of time to let me know.
First piece of advice, you don't rent dogs.
That was me misspeaking. I know that you don't rent dogs.
Sometimes you probably can, but that's not the point of dog ownership. You're not leasing the pet.
This is not Cozy.
I mean,
Mr. Magooing into renting a dog, not knowing anything about it.
Do dog leasing services exist?
You have
I'm
things
Googling
like
it.
cafes and puppy cafes and stuff in like Japan. So
I mean, they do cats. They don't do dogs, right? Because dogs would be too hyper. And
They do
dogs too.
They do
There's a
owls.
hedgehog cafe somewhere. There's
hedgehogs
there's
make
also-
sense because they're not going anywhere. But like dogs are so hyperactive,
Right.
they just be running between tables and everything. Like, wouldn't that be a little much?
You can actually in the UK you can actually, to Cody's point, you can rent like an experience with dogs, and they're all like little puppies you can play around with and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I mean, I'd love to go to a
puppy
puppy
experience?
playground or something. That'd be great.
Oh,
In
I
any
Ethan,
think
sorry,
case-
you were saying you found something. No,
Yeah,
we're
so-
not changing the subject that quick, Cozy. You're not getting out of this that easy.
I
I
googled
would
dog
find
leasing
this
services.
personally.
I misspoke.
first-
This isn't something that I genuinely, truly believe. I was, going on my spiel, getting ready to.
I know, but we're having
introduce
But we're
my
running
topic
with
now.
it as a bit.
are
Nathan,
we
go
are
ahead.
teasing.
So just to be clear, I googled dog leasing services, and the first entry there is leasing a dog is a really bad idea. From
I mean, that makes sense.
The Bark. It's from a website called The Bark. Also, pet leasing, a dangerous new scam hitting Canada from
Oh, no.
2019 in Canadian Pet Connection. So just so everybody's aware, ignore Cozy's advice. Do not lease a dog or rent a dog.
The thumbnail for
wasn't
this
even-
episode is basically
I'm not
Cozy
even
behind
giving out
bars.
advice.
It's Cozy throwing a Pokeball and it's just a dog.
Can we have the thumbnail be Cozy trying to rent a dog? But
Like from the side of like a white panel van that just says dogs for rent.
yes.
Instead of free candy, free puppies.
You know what?
Sorry, Cozy, go ahead.
If y'all believe so
Someone
strongly,
had to say it.
if y'all
someone
believe
had
so
to say it.
strongly that I believe in renting dogs, and you know what? I'll lean into it further. You know those NFTs that are all the rage these days?
Yes.
Rent some of
And they're
those.
not.
Rent an NFT.
NFT puppies.
People are eventually going to lease out their NFTs.
It's
gonna
already
be.
happening, Mitch. It's already happening.
Of course it is.
And I'm here to tell you
It's
that
called
it's a
right click
good
save
idea.
as.
No, just a picture behind, like of the tweet, just like Yu-Gi-Oh with a card saying "Steal your meme card" or "Steal your NFT card."
Yeah.
Oh mate,
It's like those memes you see of like hitting your server with the Uno reverse card, and they've got an Uno reverse card in their pocket for just such an occasion.
Oh god, I still don't understand where the value comes from. I really don't.
It's artificial value, just like almost everything in a capitalist society.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna mess
But
up.
imagine if it was Skylanders. Wait,
I mean, Skylander NFTs are going to be a thing. That's the thumbnail. It's Cozy trying to lease a dog from the back of a white panel van, and Skylander NFTs.
Here's the problem: when Pokemon NFTs are a thing, you're going to see me and Mitch in a suit
on
YouTube.
You telling me I can own Heracross? Like actually own Heracross? There goes all my money. God damn it!
Oh dear.
Real actual talk for a real actual second. I actually watched a really good video on NFTs the other day by Josh Strife Hayes called "What the Hell Are NFTs?" Actually, really good and informative. If you're like, I don't know what NFTs are, and I don't want to know what NFTs are, but I kind of feel like I have to, just so
you
that
should
I can,
know at this point.
you know, be part of the conversation and not get scammed.
I just had a realization. In Pokemon, you have a trainer ID, and that trainer ID gets, branded, I guess, onto your Pokemon, so it always has your trainer ID attached to it.
So do you want trainer IDs generated by the blockchain so that it goes with you between games?
I'm just saying, I'm not... Nintendo usually picks weird lanes to run the internet. I'm not putting it past them.
I hate how much
Pokemon is the original NFT, where exactly what you're saying is you have your unique identifier, and anything you catch is always tied to your identifier.
Yeah.
He's cracked it. He's cracked it, ladies.
That's why Pokemon is so addictive. They were the original NFTs.
Yeah. This is where all that Wii money went to.
I guess they were.
Sorry, Cozy, you were supposed to say something before I totally derailed the conversation for a good 5 minutes.
It's fine.
So what kind of dog should I these?
All things considered, we're actually...
Wait, I believe he was talking about renting a dog. Was that not what we were talking about?
It's going to continue to come up because the topic of the show has to do with pets.
It does. We are tier ranking all of the mythical Pokemon based on how good or bad pets they would make. Now, quick
Porygon number one
explanation. Unfortunately, Porygon's not going to be part of this discussion because we are only talking about mythical Pokemon. If you are not indoctrinated in the world of Pokemon, mythical Pokemon are the rarest of the rare Pokemon. When I was originally conceiving this topic of the show, I thought I would do it about all legendary Pokemon. Turns out there's like close to 100 legendary Pokemon at this point. So we're only talking about mythical Pokemon, which are the Pokemon that you can typically only obtain through like in-person events or through like digital distribution. You can't find them in the Pokemon games. You are only given to them through special events. Yes, Mitch.
Thank God, that stretching was hard. I hurt my shoulder shoveling snow the other day, so that actually was difficult for me. I was going to say, if people aren't indoctrinated in the Pokemon mythos and they're still listening to this after an hour of us just rambling about random Pokemon shit, thank you.
Oh, yes. By all means, thank you.
Because I know if it was me and we were talking like Minecraft or some shit, I'm out after like 5 minutes, if that.
Or Wordle.
Yeah, you didn't make it 2 seconds into my Zomboid talk for the 3rd week in a row, so...
Hey, in my defense, I was only there for one of those 3 weeks, I think.
That's true. You did need to take a break after my last one, so...
Exactly.
So...
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
For today's session, we're going to be ranking all of the mythical Pokemon into 6 different tiers. Starting at the top, we have Man's Best Pokemon. Next, we have Fantastic Friend. Then we have Pocket Pal. Then we have Contentious Creature, Mortifying Monster, and finally, as is Press YYZ tradition, just Knack.
Can I make an amendment to this?
Sure.
Can we change the Knack tier to rental only?
All right. That's fair.
Very topical. Also, can we change the Pocket Pal name? That sounds terrible.
Best friend?
Yeah, I don't like Pocket Pal either.
All right, do we want to change all of them at this point?
Pocket Pal is like, I think that's an actual like sex toy brand somewhere.
Yeah, what does contentious mean?
What else are you going to do if you're least?
I'm
Never
sure
mind.
that all of these are like sex toy brands somewhere.
Let's
Even
not
somehow.
talk about how much Pokemon relates to sex toys, okay? We've got literally like liquid metal,
Have
a
you
thing with
seen?
some hoop.
Have you seen the Gardevoir memes?
I don't
Have you
want
seen
to.
the
I
Vaporeon
really
copy
don't.
pasta?
Have you seen the
Me.
Gardevoir Rule 34?
Oh man.
I have seen that separately even
Cody's just
before.
about to start googling it live
before
on
any of
screen.
this.
Please don't.
All right.
Please don't do that. We like being
All
on Twitch.
right.
Let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road, as our good friend Nathan McInerney just stated.
I'm ready to rate some Pokemon.
Let's talk about mythical Pokemon number 1, Mew.
Nathan, do you know this one?
Yes, I'm aware of Mew. He is the pre-evolution of Mewtwo.
Exactly.
Not,
Exactly.
not quite. Mew is, of course, the original mythical Pokemon, the only mythical Pokemon from Gen 1. He is said to be the ancestor of all Pokemon, containing all
Wait, not
their,
Articuno?
No, not Articuno. Although
But Uno means
is
or
one.
a rare
Zapdos or
Pokemon too.
Moltres?
Uno
I know
means
those
one.
ones.
Do you know what you remind me of? You remind me of the donkey sketch about Pokemon.
That's what it's going to devolve to
It is
eventually.
a
Yeah.
fantastic compliment.
Mew is rather unique in that it can learn every single Pokemon Mew move in existence, including Transform. Commonly in the Pokemon anime, it will transform into various other Pokemon in order to remain elusive and out of sight. Does anybody want to take a shot in the dark on where they think that this thing should rank?
What are the rankings again? Can we
Yeah,
see the
can we
names?
see the rankings again?
Are, from top to bottom, Man's Best Pokemon, Fantastic Friend, Pocket Pal, Contentious Creature, Mortifying Monster, and Rental Only.
So
Here,
I'd like to take a stab at this to start, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Sure.
I think it belongs in the Pocket Pal tier because it can transform into literally anything.
God damn it.
Anything.
I was going to say Mortifying Monster because that thing looks like a hairless pet, and hairless pets are terrible.
I was going to say Fantastic Friend because of how Mew is, especially in Pokemon the first movie. Like, Mew is great.
Well,
Can we
here's the
just
thing, right?
change Pocket Pal to best buddy now before we get taken off the internet?
Oh, come on, you got to stick with the Pocket Pal, surely.
God damn it.
Cozy's put so much effort into these names. We can't just, mess about with it.
I'm Googling
No, it's
Pocket
fine.
Pal. Wish me luck.
I like Best Buddy
God damn
because I feel like it's a pretty good midsection between Fantastic Friend and Contentious Creature. And you came up with that off the dome, so that's pretty good, Mitch.
Good job.
The only thing I've been good for through the entire history of this podcast is coming up with stupid names for stuff.
So, my thing with Mew is, right, I could either put it right at the top or second. Because obviously we've gone through like what Mew can do, what Mew's capable of. It's very cute. It's like a little cat. The only problem I have with Mew is how mischievous it can be.
Mm.
And like, there's some days where I'm happy to play about with a pet. There's other days where I'm like, I don't need this shit right now. Like, I'm the kind of person who my sister's got a cat, for example. I love playing with that cat, but if I had to look after that thing and do all the extra stuff with it, I would hate it. And I guess with Mew's like prankster sort of nature, it would be a great friend to have, but yeah, probably not the best. So maybe I'm going to put that second.
I think that's 2 votes for second. The second ranking there. What is it? Friend?
Fantastic
Friend?
Yes.
Ooh, Fantastic Friend.
All right. Well, if there are no outliers, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Mew at Fantastic Friend. All right. With Mew out of the way, we can move on to our second mythical Pokemon, which is, of course, the one and only Celebi, a Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 2, and also the only mythical Pokemon from Generation 2. This forest fairy has the ability to travel through time and is psychic grass type, so it has power over both the mind and plant matter.
I am Groot. Sorry.
And that's not
I'm going to
entirely
put this
incorrect.
Put this in A tier.
Closer to a Sudowoodo.
I'll show you a pseudo Wudo.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Which is getting spicy.
Oh, I've been all
So that's
bottled up, and Pokemon is my release, baby.
We might just get episode 69 after all.
We'll see about that one.
Yeah, I think with Celebi, I think that's probably I think that has to go at top because I can't really fault it on anything really. It's
Also,
cute,
you can time travel.
it's useful, it can time travel. So if you mess up something, you can just be like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna redo that. That's pretty cool.
Now,
Um,
an important
It's
thing
pretty
to
well
keep in
behaved.
mind, it's said within Celebi's Pokédex entries that Celebi is said to come from a good timeline in the future. It doesn't come from like a bad dystopian future, which means that theoretically it probably is not going to help you time travel to perform some sort of heinous act. that
oh
will
no, I'm just
lead to
saying like if
things-
I trip up and break my arm, at least then it can like
Sure.
save me from that future.
Yeah,
But then
that would
aren't you having to deal with the ramifications of doing that time travel? You're not just going back to the same time, like you mentioned timelines.
Oh,
You're going
okay.
back to fix that. You're not going to be on the timeline that you were
That's-
originally on.
okay,
So you're creating this whole branching multiverse out of Pokemon just by having this thing. I feel like it's just going to break space time the more you
Well,
use Celebi's ability.
It
So it should be a
depends on the
very
trainer.
limited use ability. It should probably be a rental only and be licensed or regulated in some form.
rental
Oh no,
only.
you can't.
Hmm.
Wait, so how we
a good
define these
argument.
tiers? Are these tiers like as in like bottom's the worst, top's the best, or is it kind of
Yeah,
like
Yes,
more usage?
that's the idea.
Pretty much, yeah.
I can't. You can't do the rental only. Like, Mitch, if Celebi was your Pokemon, would you abuse it like that? That's the question.
110%. Who
God damn
wouldn't?
it! Oh god damn it!
Anyone with the ability to time travel would abuse the ability to time travel.
Can I take it and go kill Hitler with it?
But does killing Hitler just open the door for someone worse to... No, actually, no, I'm not getting into this conversation. Nope. I'm noping out of this one. I'm going to mute myself again.
Just delete the NFT concept from
All right.
reality. Look, I'm going to say man's best friend, but I totally understand where Mitch is coming from. But the way I'll use Celebi, I won't abuse it, okay?
All right.
And like, be able to like fix forests and like stop climate change. I mean, come on. You got to have like man's best friend Celebi up there.
I think that it should be a contentious creature because it's cool, but obviously the potential destructive powers of this Pokemon are enormous if you misuse it. We have quite a split vote, so let's go from bottom to top. Raise your hand if you think that it should be rental only.
Do we keep our hand up, or do we keep our hand up until you say the one we don't want it at? Or
hold on, I just
is this
realized
kind of
we have no
ranking?
way of knowing whether or not Kumail is raising his hand.
I'm
so-
just going to say the words raise hand,
Okay,
basically.
perfect.
Kumail raises his hand.
Doing this to
Yeah,
Sony-
Kumail used raise hand. It was not very effective. It's still
Myself-
rental only.
Myself, Mitch, and AJ have our hands raised. Do we think that it is a mortifying monster? Keep your hand
Oh,
raised.
this is
if
how
yes.
it's going. I understand.
All right.
Okay, so
okay,
I'm still sticking with man's best friend. So
Okay, so we know where Kumail's is, so you guys can
Okay.
just vote between the three of you. Because I
Okay.
put my hand down on this one. It should be rental only. Just
Okay.
on principle.
And
Y'all want to friggin' abuse time travel
Nathan-
like
Well,
monsters.
this sounds like it's going to be a little
why are we only
contentious. This
focusing on the
creature.
negatives of
Nathan
Celebi then in
began
that case?
raising his hand, so he's also in agreement. It should be mortifying monster. The only one who abstains is Mitch. Do we think it is a contentious creature? Keep your hand raised if yes. All right, everybody keeps their hand raised, but Mitch. Do we think it is a best buddy? Oh,
It'll
myself and
save the
AJ
environment,
dropped our
guys.
hands, which means that we are going to have to put Celebi into the best buddy slot.
Okay, I'll take it.
I
To
was
be
voting
higher
for
than
contentious creature, but I think Kumail's vote higher made it.
Look, we have to like give some credence to the fact that it can literally save environments. Like, come on.
Yeah, you know what?
Sure,
Actually,
you could
I'll
potentially destroy
retroactively say that
timelines.
I kept my hand raised. We'll leave it at best buddy.
Nice.
Sure.
All right. Let's move on to our third mythical Pokemon. It is the one and only Jirachi. Jirachi is the Wishmaker Pokemon. Normally, it remains asleep for 1,000 years, and upon waking up after those 1,000 years have elapsed, it grants wishes of any kind. We will say, for the sake of this hypothetical, that Jirachi is not constantly asleep. It is up and about and doing its thing like a normal pet would. It is.
I played new Pokemon.
This is worse than Celebi.
It is psychic
No.
and steel type.
He will grant any wish. Any wish, and you don't want to regulate that through rental or leasing in some way.
Worth pointing out, though,
I
Mitch.
think you have to. Wait, are you going to do something dodgy, Mitch, with this wish granting Pokemon?
Yes, normal people will do that.
No one with a rational mind would.
Anyone with a rational mind would say, "Yeah, I wish for $10 billion and never have to work a day in their lives."
But everybody would
That
have
throws
$10
the
billion,
economy
and $10 billion
into
wouldn't be
turmoil,
worth
like-
anything.
Worth
Oh,
pointing out.
okay. dollars like yen.
I've been coming at this at the angle where there's only one Jirachi, and you're like the sole owner of this Jirachi, so everyone can get a Jirachi, is what you're saying.
No, it
this-
would be like an Elder Wand situation where we're killing each other over the possession of this creature.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, no, this is top tier for me.
No,
Mostly
it has-
because
I agree with top tier. This one's cute. Does it
Mostly
talk on its
because
stomach?
This is one of my favorite mythical Pokemon, and like
it's-
it likes sleep. I love naps. We
It
can
doesn't
nap together,
talk
it'd be
out of its
great.
stomach. Its stomach has a third eye that, when it is in the process of granting wishes, opens up. That's
it
how
looks like
works.
a smile.
Yeah.
Looked like a mouth. Okay.
I actually like this guy quite a bit too. I would put him in. I don't know if I would put it in top tier. I would put him at Fantastic Friend, because the thing about Jirachi is he can be a little bit of a stinker when he grants your wishes. In the Pokemon movie in which he appears, somebody wishes for
Oh, does he have like a
candy
monkey
bars.
paw and it curls and like
it's not to
something
that degree.
disaster happens on the other side of the planet?
It's not to that degree. Somebody asks for candy bars at one point, and what Jirachi does is candy bars appear out of thin air, but actually what it's doing is it's just teleporting candy bars from like a street vendor somewhere else. So it's not like
It's
that
stealing.
crazy.
I think
Yeah.
you know what? That argument, I think Mitch is right. It should be rental only.
All right,
You
let's
need to
vote.
regulate this guy.
Someone having a rational thought for once. God damn it.
Raise your hand if you think that it is rental only. All right, everybody.
Wait, I want to be
raises
man's
their
best
hand.
friend. I don't want to hold my hand up that long.
Okay. Keep your hand raised if you think it's a mortifying monster. All right. Myself, Nathan, and Kumail have our hands still raised. I said that it should be a Fantastic Friend, so mathematically, that's where it's going to end up. All right.
Look how cute it is, Mitch. Just look at it, Mitch.
Next up.
Also, it can
so
grant my
happy.
wishes.
Up until this point, we've largely been dealing with mythical Pokemon that have a nice fairy-like presence to them. This one is bucking the trend by quite a bit. We are talking about Pokemon 386 Deoxys. This is a space Pokemon. It was a space virus that somehow got transformed into its current form after being struck by a laser beam. What's unique about Deoxys is that it actually has multiple different forms that are optimized for different forms of combat. Its base form has a series of tendril-like tentacles that it can use to launch powerful attacks from. It has a more attack-oriented form where its body becomes sleek like a jet plane. It has a defensive form where its body becomes a little bit more rotund. And finally, it has a speed-based form where it basically becomes even more like a jet plane. Probably should not have used that to describe its attack form.
This thing's creepy looking.
Oh, it is creepy.
I think all these different forms kind of defaulted to Pocket Pal.
I was
'Cause it
going to
could
say,
be
which
whatever you
tier
want
was
it
the
to be,
sex
baby.
toy tier again? Because that's where this needs to be.
I agree, Pocket Pal. Let's do it.
So with Deoxys, the way I'd probably use it is if I was a gladiator, this would be my champion for sure. Like in combat, like a thing that can transform between different forms. Let's go. As a bodyguard as well, fantastic. Like no one would be able to like touch me. Someone with a knife, Deoxys speed form, get the knife out of his hand. Someone comes to punch me, Deoxys defensive form, the guy's hand breaks. Fantastic. But the thing is, I agree with Mitch's previous arguments in the fact that this thing would be way too dangerous to let out there, especially with it being a virus.
Didn't it?
We know
at some point it tried to destroy the entire world.
Yeah.
Therapy XO in the chat is saying specifically this thing tries to kill all of Hoenn in the Gen 6 games. So
no, this has to go to rental only because
it's too dangerous. I mean, these are all going to go to that tier because they're all too damn dangerous. But
okay,
but with the other Pokemon, I can at least say there's positive sides to them, right? With this Pokemon, I can't see a positive that's going to help humanity.
Yeah,
this
still
thing
gonna
is
teach you how
this
to
thing is a
baseball
break
anyway.
glass in case of emergency situation.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a
I'm
nuke,
right
basically.
there. I'm right there as well. All right, let's go ahead and let's put it to a vote. Who thinks that it is rental only?
Hands up.
Who thinks that it is a mortifying monster?
I think that's fair.
Who thinks that it is a contentious creature? Well, everybody basically put their hands down. All right, well, in that case, it is going to be a mortifying monster. I don't think that it's... Here's the thing. Deoxys, a really, really cool-looking Pokemon. And I feel like Pokemon that are really, really cool don't deserve to be rental only. But I can't put it any higher than mortifying monster.
Yeah, I can take that.
Okay, let's switch gears back over to another cute-looking mythical Pokemon. Manaphy. This was a water-based Pokemon introduced in Generation 4. Manaphy is quite unique in that the two tentacles protruding from its head allow it to temporarily, key word, temporarily, swap the souls of any two sentient creatures it
Jesus
comes
Christ!
across.
What?
I don't remember that being a thing.
This was a major scene in the Pokemon movie in which it appeared. There's a part in which Jesse, James,
Shows you how
and
many
Meowth
Pokemon movies I watched.
I need
all
to
encounter it, and
Really?
their souls get swapped in their bodies for like a scene.
I guess it being temporary is okay.
I was very happy to say this is great. There's no drawbacks, and then you tell me it's a fucking body swapper.
Hey, temporary.
Again,
body
temporary.
swapper.
Yeah, well, think
I mean,
about
that could be
this.
interesting
What if
for
it
the pirate
temporarily swapped you into the body of someone who's comatose? Or someone who's on their deathbed and you just
Well, at
pass
least
away
then-
while you're in their body.
but then-
How does that work, eh? This
Because
thing's just
it's-
trying to murder young people by putting them in old people bodies.
No, because it gives you an appreciation for life. You experience 10 minutes or whatever in that, like, dying
What if you
person's
die
body,
in
and
those
you're
10
thinking-
minutes? Someone else is walking around in your skin suit. Like,
but
no.
Mitch-
No, I assume
This
the
is
soul's
too
connected
dangerous
to
to
the
be let out
body
of its
still.
cage.
What
Again.
What if you could switch bodies
Fish
with
tank.
your wife for 10 minutes?
Then it goes in the pocket pellets here. Other than that, it needs to be controlled.
Look, contentious creature, Mitch, is where I'm negotiating.
I'd be willing to
Fine.
put it there. I think that you can.
I'm
going to
put it at man's best friend.
Man's best.
Man's best friend.
Or man's
I don't
best
think it's
Pokemon,
overly
isn't it?
useful, though, to be fair.
Oh, man's best Pokemon.
All
Typing
right.
isn't great. It's not the most useful of Pokemon.
Yeah.
It looks cuddly.
Who here?
But it's just like it'd be like if you were hugging like a water bottle. Like
no,
you don't want to hug a water bottle.
No, there are some Pokemon. There are some Pokemon that are definitely more water-like than that. Vaporeon, Mitch, you're familiar with Vaporeon.
No, please don't.
Vaporeon
don't.
would be more like hugging a water bottle.
God damn it.
No, Vaporeon's like a dog. It'd be more like petting a seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except seal would be like petting a seal.
All right.
Okay, sea lion then. I don't know what you want me to give you.
Let's put it to a vote.
I see we've got a resident Pokemon expert here.
Who here thinks that it is rental only? Kumail?
Sorry.
No, God no.
No. All right. Who
No.
here thinks that it's a mortifying monster? Okay, just myself, Nathan, and AJ keep our hands up. Who thinks that it is a contentious creature?
Hands up.
Okay. All right. Who thinks that it is a best buddy? Well, only Nathan and Kumail keep their hands up. So,
Oh, sorry, hands down again. Sorry.
well, in any case, Manaphy is going to go at contentious creature. Our next Pokemon is a little bit of an oddball. This is Fione. Say it with me. Fione.
Theo.
So typically within the world
Fione.
of Pokemon, mythical or legendary Pokemon can't breed, except for Manaphy. For whatever reason, when you breed a Manaphy, it produces this Pokemon, which is called Fione, which does not have the ability to swap people's souls and actually doesn't really have anything remarkable about it. In the entire world of Pokemon, Fione might be one of the biggest question marks of, I don't know why they made this one. But nevertheless, it is a mythical Pokemon, so we have to rank it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it at best buddy because it's cute. Doesn't have the
It'd be like
No.
having a cat.
yeah.
Like nothing wrong with this thing.
You got a fish tank, put it in there, you're happy. It's cute.
Yeah, I will say, like, it being this weird offshoot mythical Pokemon that doesn't have anything special about it, it actually kind of, in a weird way, wants to make me appreciate it and love it as a pet more. I don't know that I would put this at, like, absolute top tier, but I would actually rank it higher than Manaphy even.
It's the only one we've ranked that isn't likely to end your life in some bizarre, messed up way. Mew transforms into an anvil, crushes your skull. Jirachi fucking grants a wish from somebody else wanting you dead. Celebi goes back in time and prevents you from being born. Manaphy, I don't know, swaps your body with someone or some shit. And Deoxys wants to destroy the whole goddamn planet. This is the only one that doesn't want to kill you.
What's interesting is this is the only context you'll ever see Fiona above Manaphy. Like, legitimately.
That's true. Okay, well, in that case, why not start at contentious creature? Who here thinks that Fiona is a contentious creature? Raise your hand.
Hands up.
All right. Who here thinks that Fiona is a best buddy?
Hands up.
Well, everybody still has their hands up. Who here thinks that Fiona is a fantastic friend?
Hands down.
Well, seems like Mitch, Nathan, and AJ still have their hands raised. Who here thinks that it is man's best Pokemon? Well, unfortunately, AJ lowered his hand. So for now, Fiona is going to be solely a fantastic friend.
Only one that hasn't tried to kill you yet.
Stop focusing on the negatives. The poor Pokemon.
Speaking of Pokemon that are trying to kill you, the next mythical Pokemon that we're talking about is Darkrai, spelt Darkai. Yes, like dark. This Pokemon can give you
is evil as shit.
Can give you nightmares. It was at the time the first solely mono dark type legendary or mythical Pokemon in existence. And yeah, that's kind of everything that you need to know about it. Where do we want to rank it?
Yeah, I'm with Mitch on this one. Have you ever had a bad night's sleep? And do you know how much that affects your day?
This is sleep paralysis, the Pokemon.
Yeah, this is
I ain't about this life.
That's better context, yeah.
Now, do we want to consider that this guy could be buds with us and will willfully choose not to give us nightmares, and that we could even perhaps coerce it to give other people nightmares?
Oh, so now you want to use it as a weapon. Again, not a good thing, Cozy. Just because you can point the missile in someone else's direction doesn't make it any safer for you. If you fire something at someone else and they're bound to fire back.
The only benefit I can see to Darkrai is like when you're staying up for E3 and you're just about to fall asleep and Darkrai's like, nah man, you're staying awake with my power. I'm like, cheers Darkrai. But maybe like Press YYZ's 12-hour stream to be announced. But like apart from those contexts, I can rental only. That's all I'm saying. Rental only.
Rental only. Does anybody here want to argue for any rank higher than rental only?
Let's make it man's best friend.
AJ, do you want to rank
among us?
higher?
I mean, rental only. Okay, what is the difference between a rental only and a mortifying monster? Because everything we described is a mortifying monster.
We
mortifying monster
to make fun of Cozy, but in actuality, this thing would be like locked up in a cage somewhere.
If I had to, let me put it this way:
mortifying monster is something you're willing to have with you, and rental only means it needs to be locked up and regulated.
Mortifying
which
monster,
is all of these except Fiona.
Mortifying monster is like, man, this thing is a real pain in the ass, but it looks cool, so I will still hang on to it.
I don't care how cool that thing looks. Anything fucks with my sleep is going in jail. Fuck that shit.
All right. Well,
okay.
I think that the people have spoken. Darkrai is going into the rental only slot, the first rental only of the night.
Shouldn't be that way, but whatever. Y'all are nuts. These things are deadly creatures.
Let's talk about a little Pokemon called Shaman. Shaman.
All right, never mind. I take back my previous point. This is man's best friend.
Wow. Mitch
this
George
thing's adorable.
Turning on a dime. This is a grassy hedgehog Pokemon with a beautiful little flower blossoming out of it. When exposed to a certain variety of flower, it also transforms into a more sleek-looking dog-like form called Shaman Sky form, which I'll pull an image of it up in just a second. As you can see, it has kind of a spunkier air to it than the normal shaman form. So you're getting 2 pretty interesting pets for the price of 1 with this one.
Can this one be house trained?
I mean, yeah, they're all house trained.
Can you house train any Pokemon?
Yes.
Like, are you expecting your Machamp to go outside to use the facilities or use your toilet? Like,
That's a good question.
How Alolan Meowth came to be. It's because it was house trained and spoilt to shit. That's
house trained, yes, but to what extent? Like, would you house train the humanoid Pokemon to go outside, or are they taking a shit in your toilet?
The Pokemon don't shit, okay?
No,
they must.
They just burn it all off as like energy expunged
things that
in
you
battle.
get told as a kid, like X person don't fart and stuff like that. Yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah, girls don't fart. It's a fact.
That's a lie.
You can look it up.
That's a lie. Wives tell you.
No, I think with like this thing is man's best friend. I mean, it can have a nice effect on your garden. It smells great.
It looks like it would cuddle nicely.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, unless you had a pollen allergy, that's the only hesitation I would have with being man's best friend. Is pollen allergies are so common that bringing that grass and plant life into the house could be a concern.
But then I guess its powers could make it so you're not affected by it. I don't know. Like, you know how, like, in the anime, like, you touch a Rapidash, and if it's friendly to you, you don't feel the flames. I don't know.
Wait, are you telling me that if I touch a Rapidash and it's not friendly to me, it's going to burn my face off?
Yes.
That's actually been proven in the anime.
That sounds like a different anime, honestly.
Therapy 3XO in the chat says, the sky form is a different problem. Do we feel like Shaman's sky form might be a little bit more rambunctious or make raising it a little bit more difficult?
If you had you could just keep it in a specific room. I think it'd be fine. And also, unless it gets access to the Gracidia flower, it's not gonna change form anyway. So you could always just avoid.
And it has its upsides. You're late for a meeting. You need to get there fast. Shaman Sky, let's go. You know, gets you to your meeting on time. And you know, it's still a shaman. It's still the cute little bugger. You know, it's not going to betray you all of a sudden just because it's sky form and it's smelt a flower.
I'm going to vote this one at man's best Pokemon. This is one of the few mythical Pokemon in the anime that a normal Pokemon trainer actually befriended and got to hang out with, and it was just a totally normal relationship. So I think Alola. IRL, it would work out really well there. That's right. It was in the Alola anime. Let's go ahead. Let's start at best buddy. Raise your hand if you think that Shaman is a best buddy.
Hands up.
Everybody raises their hand. Keep your hand raised if you think it's a fantastic friend.
Hands up again.
Well, raise your hand if you think it's man's best Pokemon.
Both hands raised.
Wow. First time, everybody in agreement that this is man's best Pokemon. Shout out to you, Shaman.
I got one up there.
You
looking at the list, this should be the only thing that goes in that tier. Legitimately.
I don't know. I'm looking at some of these
Mitch is
pictures.
going to become the Terminator and go to Game Freak's headquarters and delete off these Pokemon.
Don't need to delete them because we're talking about them in the scope of the real world, and in the real world, any of these things would murder everybody. There's nothing reasonable about Pokemon in real life. Everyone's like, "Oh, if Pokemon were real, what would you choose?" Nothing, because they're all going to be trying to fucking murder us.
Now, if you're following along. If you're following along with your Pokédexes, you might know that there's actually a mythical Pokemon that comes right after Shaman, but we're going to talk about that mythical Pokemon at the very end. For now, we're going to skip over and talk about a little Pokemon called Victini. Victini is the victory Pokemon, hence its name. It basically exudes an aura, for lack of a better word, that allows people and Pokemon around it to be more victorious in battle. And it is also fire psychic type.
Can I just say, it looks like with those teeth that it would eat you?
Yeah,
this is one of those situations where if you die, it's going to eat you.
It looks a little vampiric, that's for sure.
I will say we do have Kumail with us, so I'm going to again reference Harry Potter because it's the only thing I know from Britain. But this very much reminds me of, I think it's in the Half-Blood Prince, when Harry Potter gets that luck potion, and that shit could be abused so bad. And if Victini is essentially just like a lucky Pokemon that makes everything better, that's not good, and people will kill each other over having this thing in their possession.
Yeah,
thing is,
but
it's
maybe
hard
it
to
should be a
argue.
pocket pal so you can get lucky.
Again, we took Pocket Pal off the list for a reason, and right now the only thing in that tier is Celebi, surprisingly enough.
Look,
So you know what?
at the base level, Victini is cute. It's got a really cool ability.
Yeah,
But
it does.
apart
Wait,
from
we took
that,
Pocket Pal off the list?
like,
I missed
it's
that
Yeah,
one.
we
not-
replaced it with Best Buddy.
It's not
Oh,
as
okay.
cute as a Manaphy. It's not as cute as a Celebi. It's not as cute as half the things on this list. So I'm happy with keeping it as a contentious creature, to be honest with you.
So
Yeah.
here's
I'm
the
okay
Man's
with
best
that
friend.
too, honestly. I would rather, like, everything should be rental only, but I guess in the sphere of this, contentious creature I can agree to.
It seems like we're more or less in agreement. I was about to say contentious creature too, because Victini is actually one of the few fire-type mythical Pokemon on this list, and I feel like when you have a fire-type Pokemon around, there's always the potential danger of it setting things on fire.
Fire is not good when you bring it indoors. Would you light a campfire in your living room? No. So don't bring a
Bring it to
campfire
a
in.
Nintendo
With
reveal,
that
please.
attitude.
And I feel like that kind of that
I mean,
offsets,
everyone invite you over to my house.
that offsets the advantage of it making your life a little bit more lucky. So yeah, I think that we're gonna rank this one right at contentious creature.
It burns down your house, but luckily enough, all the things you actually cared about are still like in one piece. So
For the record, I had it at Man's best friend.
Your pet Fiona was able to get out and not get murdered by this thing.
All right. Next up, we're talking about a water fighting Pokemon called Caldeo. Caldeo is
That's a bad picture.
Is it?
Pocket Pal.
Look at the angle. Also, this picture single-handedly proves Pokemon don't poop.
Oh,
Well, it's you're not getting a close up, but you're just seeing the cheeks. You don't see if there's a hole between the cheeks.
That is true, actually. Yeah, still, the jury's still out on whether
Hashtag-
Pokemon. I'm on Google. Do Pokemon poop? You guys continue.
Release the
that sounds like
bubble
a
cut of
Game Freak app
Pokemon.
in like 3 years' time. Pokemon poop.
Pokemon shits.
Something to make my kids think picking up dog poop is fun outside.
It's like it would be like Everybody Poops the book, but to
Pokemon
teach you it's okay to
Everybody
poop.
poops.
Caldeo is
Sometimes.
a small horse-like Pokemon, almost like a pony. The blade
I was just
on
gonna
top
say,
of its
very
head.
My Little Pony.
Yes, the blade on top of its head can be used to cut down all manner of objects. And don't underestimate its water typing. It can unleash very powerful water moves like Hydro Pump. So
Does it? You're
this
saying
thing
it squirts?
Yes. This thing, there's a lot of stuff going on with this horse. Yes, Vic.
I like Caldeo.
I have an update on the Pokemon pooping situation.
Yeah.
Please don't
Yep.
spoil this.
I believe it's selective. So we have evidence from the Pokedex that certain Pokemon do poop. For example, Darumaka, its Pokedex entry in Pokemon White X and Omega Ruby. Darumaka's droppings are hot, so people use to put them in their clothes to keep themselves warm.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But you look at the Pokedex entry for Guzzlord, the Ultra Beast, it
Oh,
appears to be
that's a-
eating
Wow.
constantly, but for some reason its droppings have never been found. As well, Galarian Weezing, this Pokemon consumes particles that contaminate the air. Instead of leaving droppings, it expels clean air.
If you want to hear something funny, just go on YouTube and like type in Guzzlord sound and see what it sounds like. Because man,
Okay.
that
It's pretty
shit sounds
amusing.
weird. Yeah, it's literally like a middle-aged guy just screaming into the air, like you stepped on a Lego. That's what it sounds like.
All right.
Wait, let's see the
but
giant
Caldeo,
sword form.
It's
Yeah,
It's-
we need to see. Yeah, if we're showing alternate forms for Shaman, people need to see the Keldeo alternate form.
All right.
I don't know
Give
what
me
it
a
is. I
second.
need to be.
Just
I need to be shown.
where yeah, it's basically like a green horn on top.
It's
I
a
just-
resolute form.
Yeah, this is
I
what
just-
is referred to as Caldeo's resolute form.
The fully erect form.
As
Yeah.
far as
There
I
we
can
go.
recall,
That's
like,
what we were looking for.
most of the other like form changes in Pokemon that we've talked about up until this point have like affected their stats. Like attack form Deoxys is more powerful than normal Deoxys. I don't think this one actually changes how powerful it is. I think it just allows.
I think its defense goes
for a
up because it
move.
gets harder.
It also can use a move. I think I can't remember. I think it was Secret Sword or something. When it's
I
Can
think
you use
that's
Harden?
right. I think that's it.
Can you use
I'm
Harden?
looking it up. 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead.
But what we'll say about Keldeo
Yeah,
is
it gets access to secret, sword, and resolute form, but
Alright.
stats do not change.
What I like about Keldeo is it's a Pokemon that's got a strong sense of justice, and so it would never do wrong by you, right? And also, as a pony, you could get you around, town or wherever, and it's a useful Pokemon. It's just like I just think
water type
can't do
Pokemon are
any
some
wrong.
of the most useful in real world practical situations because humans need water to survive.
I don't.
So for whatever reason you found yourself in the middle of a desert, you would not be dead if you had Keldeo as a pet.
I don't disagree, but I also feel like Caldeo is just kind of bland. I wouldn't put him any higher than Best Buddy.
I was going to push for Fantastic Friend, but I can go with Best Buddy.
I'm pushing Fantastic Friend, so let's vote.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that thing makes me uncomfortable, so I need to be
wait.
lower.
Before we even go to voting, what's the downside of a Keldeo?
That he's just kind of
It's a fighting type, so it could make a bit of a mess indoors. It'd have to probably be like an outdoor
pet. Won't fuck about for no
best.
reason. If someone's wronged it, then maybe yeah, but like it's not gonna.
What if you're watching something on TV that's fiction and you see like something awful happen in your HBO show of choice, and it jumps to something terrible in the TV, and it just puts its horn straight through the TV? Like, that just seems unreasonable, but it seems like something that Caldeo would do.
Okay, guys, we don't have all the time in the world. Let's go to vote. Figure thinks that this is rental only. Raise your hand.
Hand raised.
Everybody but Nathan raised their hand. Nathan too. All right, raise your hand if you think that it is a mortifying monster.
Hand raised.
Keep it raised if you think it's a contentious creature.
Hand raised.
Raised if you think it's a best buddy.
Hand raised.
AJ drops. Keep it raised if you think it is a fantastic friend.
Hand raised.
Keep it raised. I drop my hand if you think it is man's best Pokemon.
Drop hand.
All right. Well, it looks like it's going to go at fantastic friend. Next up is a Pokemon by the name of Meluetta. This is a Pokemon that alternates between a normal psychic and normal fighting type form. It is able to emit all sorts of various sound-based attacks, as you can tell based on its appearance. It is quite small in stature, but it's able to pack quite a punch.
This is one of my favorite normal type Pokemon. It's quite unique. It's not very good in battles, but I mean, there's not much to say about Meluetta apart from it sings a lot and can change into a fighting type when it uses a move. It's just.
I think
it'd be good at when you've got guests around your place and you need some entertainment. You bring Meluetta out and Meluetta will sing for your guests.
I was going to say it's free entertainment. Yeah,
I think a lot similar to my aversion to Pokemon based off of inanimate objects. I think I'm also learning I have an aversion to Pokemon that are slightly humanoid. Mm-hmm. They kind of make me uncomfortable in a weird way.
What you're saying is it needs to be a fox or a dog or a bear. It
needs to be an animal that is not human.
Type.
Yeah.
It's perfectly normal to have strong feelings towards Meluetta.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think we're gonna have to
tell me about your
speed up a little bit on these discussions.
Go ahead
just given the time.
Yeah, let's.
I'm going to say contentious creature.
I'm going to put it a contentious creature too. Sometimes you have to imagine it will sing a bit of a racket and you won't want it around. All right, raise your hand if you think that it should go at rental only.
Raise hand.
All right, keep it raised if you think it should go at mortifying.
Raise hand.
Keep your hand raised if you think it should go at contentious.
Raise hand.
Everybody's hands are still raised. Keep your hand raised if you think it should go at best buddy.
Drop hand.
Well, only Nathan still had his hand raised, so it's going to go at contentious creature. All right. Next up, we have the mythical Pokemon Hoopa.
Lock this shit up.
Yeah. There's no way you can justify this shit being outside.
Here's the thing.
We're going to call Hoopa Unbound to scare the shit out of all the kids watching.
Yeah, this is another one of those Pokemon that has an alternate form. Normal Hoopa looks perfectly fine. Looks like a, mischievous but relatively harmless little weird-looking fairy. Hoopa Unbound, on the other hand, is quite a lot. This Pokemon...
Let's not judge something by its looks, by the way. you should be terrified, but it can be good if it wants to be good.
The thing about Hoopa
And
Unbound,
I think the capacity for chaos makes it.
Yeah.
It needs to be
Yeah.
controlled.
The fact that in one
Yeah.
of the movies, it can literally summon like 8 legendary Pokemon out of fucking nowhere makes
Yeah.
it too dangerous for it to live.
So the way that this Pokemon functions is it uses these gold rings to basically open portals to other places in time and space. Actually, I don't know if
I think
it's time. I think it's just space.
It's rumored that the ring or like the extra dimensional spaces in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were also just the caused by Hoopa.
Right.
Wait. Yeah. Does
that mean he can bring Digimon in and make Pokemon better?
He can bring Digimon in and make Pokemon
possible. Maybe.
It might give Digimon a second leg, yes.
Is Porygon actually a Digimon?
Yes.
It's artificial Pokemon.
Yeah, so that means it's actually a Digimon.
One of 3 artificial Pokemon, I think, right? Technically 4 with an evolution. No,
Porygon,
I guess 5.
Porygon
I wouldn't be able to name them off the top of my head. Mewtwo's one of them.
The Mewtwo, the Porygons,
another one.
Sylvali and Type Null.
And Genesect.
Are those drugs?
That was done by Team Plasma, I think.
Oh, Genesect for sure.
Magearna, right, as well.
Magearna as well. A lot of mythicals are actually, man-made.
Anyway,
which is
all
weird.
right. Well, let's put it to a
I'm
vote.
going to give Hooper good screen time. The one thing we have to say about Hooper is, look, if you're desperate for a holiday and you wanted to go to, I don't know, let's say Japan,
who doesn't?
Cute Hooper could just open a little portal for you and you can walk out into Japan. Now,
but it could also just open the portal like, this is Japan, and you end up stepping into a lava pit.
No, but you can see through the ring. You can see through the ring. So
lock it up.
No. Yeah,
okay.
I'm just trying to give some good press.
Raise your hand.
But I agree. It has to be locked up.
Raise your hand if you think that it is rental only.
Raise hand.
I don't think we have to actually vote on rental only because there's nothing below it.
Raise your hand if you think it's a mortifying monster.
Drop hand.
I drop my hand as well. Only Nathan had his hands up. Nathan really wants to play with fire tonight.
They should all be man's best Pokemon.
Wait, is it not rental only?
I thought it was rental only.
That's correct.
Yeah,
I was distracted when I was putting it there. Thank you for keeping me honest. Not a problem. Not a problem. All right, let's talk about the next mythical Pokemon, Volcanion. Or Volcanion. I don't know how it's pronounced.
I say Volcanion. Like
Volcanion.
Yeah,
I like that.
I switch between the two.
Or Volcanion.
This is a rather unique mythical Pokemon in that it's the only Pokemon in the series as of yet that has the water-fire typing. It produces ultra-hot water and steam to bedazzle and defeat its opponents. And it looks like it moves around pretty awkwardly.
It's a walking volcano. You cannot let this thing out.
Well, here's the thing, right? The use case for this is if your family runs a hot spring, like this Pokemon is great. It can provide you with like all the water and stuff. So that's the only positive I've got for this Pokemon, really.
Maybe it should be man's best Pokemon.
Are you just going to say that about all of them, Nathan?
That's kind of my plan right now, yeah.
Okay, Nathan, why do you think this is man's best Pokemon? The walking.
Well, look at it.
Pokemon.
It's like you could sit on it, and it could walk you around as you sit on it as like a travel piece.
It doesn't look like something that would be comfortable to sit on, just FYI.
It depends who you're talking to, I guess.
I guess.
Pocket Pal. No.
Oh, God.
No. Yeah. No, I think it has to go where Hooper is. Actually, no, I'll put it above Hooper, to be honest with you, because it does have a use case in terms of...
For some reason, I thought this thing was going to be bigger. This thing's only 5 feet tall.
I'm going to judge a book by its cover and just say something like a Camrupt is a cooler looking volcano than...
Also equally as dangerous because fire is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least this thing can, like, give you some steam after, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and it can also just exert that steam and scald your face and melt it off of your skull.
It can regulate its temperature, so, like, it's not necessarily going to kill you, but if you get on its bad side, then, yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
All right. Let's put it to a vote. Who here thinks that it is a mortifying monster? Raise your hand.
Hands up.
Myself, Mitch did not vote. Keep your hands raised if you think it is a contentious creature.
Hands down.
Well, only myself and Nathan. All right, looks like it is a mortifying monster. Next up, let's go and talk about a little Pokemon by the name of Genesect.
Fuck this
Oh,
thing.
fuck.
Straight up, fuck this thing.
Is a
So-
bug that inhabited the planet Earth hundreds of millions of years ago. It was resurrected through the power of modern science and equipped with all sorts of cyborg accoutrements, including a cannon on its back, which can swap between multiple different types of attacks.
This
It
seems
looks
like
like
bad
a
news.
Power Rangers Megazord.
Oh,
It's very
wait.
small. It's very
Man's
small.
best friend. Man's best friend. AJ won
Mitch,
me over.
What do you think of the theory that this was originally a Kabutops that's been genetically modified?
I wouldn't say Kabutops. I think it's probably some other fossil Pokemon we haven't discovered yet. I wouldn't be surprised if we did get like a bug rock fossil type that resembled Genesect in Gen 8 or beyond.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't. This thing is basically born.
This thing is
as a
genetically
weapon of mass
altered to fuck
destruction.
shit up.
Yeah.
See, I don't disagree with you. I also think that like Genesect could be like really kind of sweet and curious and like not normally hostile at all unless it's a battle scenario.
Do you know what we can compare this to? Do you remember the stormtroopers in Star Wars that had that chip in their heads? That as soon as they hear something,
The clone troopers with the
inhibitor.
Inhibitor chip. Yeah,
yeah, that's basically Genesect.
Genesect.
And there's no going back from that. I'm sorry.
We all saw how that went for the younglings. All right,
Yeah,
Oh,
it wasn't
man.
a good time.
Let's vote. Who here thinks that
Spoilers
this
for
is-
Star Wars Episode 3.
Who here thinks that this is at least a mortifying monster? Raise your hand. Well, only myself and Nathan. Looks like this thing is going at rental only.
This thing should go into its own tier of should not exist.
Jesus, do you think that Mewtwo should not exist?
Pretty much, yeah.
All
I mean,
right.
no Pokemon should exist because if Pokemon existed, the world would be in chaos.
Let's talk about Dianchi. This is a fairy rock type Pokemon.
I'm sorry. Did you just call it Dianchi?
I don't know how it's
It
pronounced.
looks like a butt plug.
Is it Dianchi?
I say
Diancie,
DNC, yeah.
Yeah, it is equipped with all sorts of precious gemstones. It's
a giant butt
actually
plug.
believed
It's
to
a
be
giant butt plug.
a like.
It even has like the same like jewel on the top of it that butt plugs do.
Correct me if
No
I'm wrong,
Porygon.
but this Pokemon is like apparently like a genetic mutation of another Pokemon called Carbink.
Hmm.
Is that true? I remember reading that at
That's
some
the.
point.
Let me look at the Pokedex entry. Hold on one second.
In any case, I think this would
it
be.
is
you know
a
how to say,
sudden
like,
transformation
underheat
of a
diamonds.
Carbank, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Under heat, like diamonds are created, and I guess that's sort of what's happened to good old Diancie over here. It's
I
a very cool Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's a very cool Pokemon.
I think this
The
would be
problem
fun
with
to
this
have around.
Pokemon is,
It's not a useful pet in the
People-
slightest.
yeah, people. Well, you can't pet it, obviously, yeah. But
It's a
people will
rock,
fight
yeah.
over it, and someone will break into your house to steal it almost every night, and it's going to cause you more problems than it's worth. And
But
so,
it
for
would
that reason,
It would defend
it's going to go
itself,
in
though.
like contentious. Yeah, not if it's asleep. Not if it's asleep.
I would put this thing at Fantastic Friend, but I seem to be in the minority on that. All right.
Well, how? What's the upside to a Diancie then? What would you say? Just what is cuteness and is that
it's cute.
you-
It's relatively calm. It's not really causing much of a ruckus. It's nice to look
no,
at.
that's fair. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the thing with it is inherently it's not bad. It's the consequences of it existing. Everyone else would come after it. I think you'd have a lot of trouble like keeping that secret. That Diancie. I don't think
Alright.
you'd be able to take it out with you.
Let's vote. Who here thinks that it's at the very least a mortifying monster? Raise your hand.
Hands up.
Wow, just me and Kumail.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Wait.
Okay.
I put my hand up.
He's just done that to piss off
Nathan
Mitch.
put his hands up for all of them. You can just ignore Nathan's vote at this point.
Who here thinks
Yeah.
that it is a contentious creature?
Hands up.
All right. A best buddy.
Hands down.
Well, all right. Looks like it's going to end up at contentious creature. A little bit surprising. I thought it would rank a little bit higher.
It's cute, but it causes too much trouble.
Next up, let's talk about a little Pokemon named Magearna. Earlier, Nathan, you brought up Porygon, which of course was a man-made Pokemon made in the late 90s. Magearna, however, is believed to be the very first ever man-made Pokemon made sometime thousands of years ago by some unknown arcane technology. This thing has endured a lot of weathering throughout the ages. Originally, it was colored to look like a Pokeball. Now it kind of has a dull gray coloration to it, but its heart, albeit a mechanical one, remains just as strong.
I'm going to put this actually quite high. And the reason being is this has got the potential to find people that are like missing. So, like on the news, X person is missing. This shit can find it if you want it to. So that's the reason why I'm going to keep it. And like in terms of destruction and stuff like that, it's a very powerful Pokemon. But it watching the and I have to space it on like what I've seen watching the anime and stuff like that. It's never seen to be aggressive, and so that's why I'd probably put it towards the top because I can't think of any reason why this thing would be dangerous or like a threat to humanity as a whole.
It's got a Pokeball color. That's cool. People have pets just because they look cool. I'm down for whatever.
All right, let's go ahead and put it to a vote.
Oh, the other thing is, if someone bad does come and take this thing can just shut itself down if it wants to, and it won't activate until it's happy to activate itself again. So, yeah.
Raise your hand if you think it's a mortifying monster at the very least.
Hands up.
Everyone's hands raised. Keep it raised if you think it's contentious.
Hands
Keep
up.
it raised if you think it is a best buddy.
Hands up.
Keep it raised. Oh, AJ fell. Keep it raised if you think it is a fantastic friend.
Hands up.
And keep it raised if you think that it is man's best Pokemon.
Hands down.
Well, looks like it is going to go at Fantastic Friend. Let's talk next about a Pokemon that I know, AJ, you're probably pretty familiar with. It's Zeraora. Again, not entirely certain if I'm pronouncing this thing correctly.
No,
That's how I
only
pronounce it.
My only context is Pokemon Unite. So
this thing is dangerous as shit, but it'd be fun to have as a pet.
I was going to say, this is the most pet-like of any of the Pokemon that we've talked about thus far, excluding Caldeo.
The most pet that ever did pet as a mythical Pokemon, except for maybe Shaman.
This is a electric, I guess, rodent/dog/upright-ish Pokemon that
it's the Pokemon company finally making Pikachu into a mythical Pokemon. Let's just say it.
That's a good way of putting it. It has real powerful paws that deliver powerful punches.
Yeah, I love this thing. This thing is awesome.
Could be man's best Pokemon.
The only problem with man's best Pokemon is if it goes a bit doolally, you're fucked.
It's got an attitude about it, like you can just kind of see. So I would be a little more apprehensive having it as a pet.
I'd put it at like Fantastic Friend best buddy territory because
that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Do you want to start the voting there? Or?
I'm not going to shame anybody for their personal preferences and life choices here. I get uncomfortable with some furry-like
conversation
things as well.
Well,
and that's what that thing looks like to me.
You just don't like fun, is what I've.
Do you hate monkeys too, by any chance?
I find them to be a little uncanny valley. Because we are so similar.
I mean, here's the thing, AJ. Like, furry's totally great. Furries, you do you. Having a furry as a pet, kind of weird.
I mean...
no, but a furry's
like a
that's acting like a furry creature, right?
Seems
okay, that's not maybe.
Seems like things are a little bit contentious. Let's start with contentious creature. Raise your hand if you think it is contentious.
Hands up.
All right, everybody raise your hand. Keep your hand raised if you think it's a best buddy.
Hands up.
Oh, wow. Mitch dropped at the last second. Looks like it is going to be...
Mitch, you bastard! You promised me this!
Fair
enough.
I think I want him over there.
Let's talk next about Marshadow. This is a fighting ghost-type Pokemon. It often remains in the shadow of other people, and thus is very rarely seen. He premiered in that Pokemon movie where Pikachu talked, which is actually true.
What?
Where Pikachu talked. That's actually true.
That one. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Now, he was totally he had nothing to do with Pikachu talking, for the record. He just happened to be in the same movie.
Okay, as long as it's not related.
This thing is fucked up beyond extreme. Could you imagine sleeping? You're waking up, it's pitch dark, you just see some eyes on the wall. Fuck that. There's no real upside to this Pokemon, and there's no real. The only downside is creepy, and like in the Pokemon movie, it was a bit of a bully.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if this thing was like in your shadow, you turned around, and like it was just there staring at you.
Yeah,
That'd be uncomfortable.
I guess maybe then like if you were like being targeted by an assassin, this thing would have your back, I guess, as a up point. But like, yeah, no, I think this goes like mortifying monster for me around that territory.
I'd keep it at rental only. This Pokemon, not only would it be terrifying, but also just, I feel like it wouldn't do much or be around all that much. Because it would remain hidden.
Like, compared to the other 3 in rental only, this thing won't offer the same sort of destructive value the other 3 could. And that's why I think you could have it as a pet, but you'd be incredibly stupid to have it as a pet.
All right. Raise your hands if you think it is a mortifying monster.
Hand raised.
Oh, wow, amazingly, everybody raised their hand. Raise your hand. Keep it raised if you think it is contentious.
Hands down.
Oh, Mitch, are you... No, Mitch dropped his hand, which means that Marshadow is going to go at mortifying monster. Next up, let's talk about... We are in the end game now. We just have a few left. Let's talk about a duo of Steel-type mythical Pokemon, Meltan and Melmetal. Meltan
Pokemon Go. These came from Pokemon Go.
That's correct. They originally debuted in Pokemon Go. Meltan, a small little Pokemon primarily composed of liquid metal and a giant... I don't want to say that word because I feel like it might rile up this crowd. A certain piece of equipment often seen in the construction industry.
It's a ring? Does it go around something?
Unique to all mythical Pokemon, Meltan can evolve into Melmetal, which is a basically much bigger version of Meltan with giant arms.
And another hole.
Yes.
Got a hole in its stomach.
That's correct.
But does it poop out of that hole?
No.
Is that where this one poops?
This thing isn't as cool as the T-1000 from Terminator 2, so somewhere in the middle.
I feel like this is one of those Pokemon that like could actually be pretty fun to have around your house because you'd be like, oh man, transform into like a chandelier or like transform into, because like its body allows it to transform into all sorts of stuff, right? Like, and not to the same degree as something like Mew, but in a way that it still looks kind of cool. Again, a lot like the Liquid Terminator.
Are we ranking Meltan and Melmetal together?
Yeah, because eventually at some point your Meltan is going to evolve into a Melmetal, so they'll both got the same slot.
So the problem with Meltan is that it'll basically eat every single like metal related thing in your house as sustenance. And yeah, no, I can't be dealing with that, especially as I'm a bit of a techie, so that thing would be absolutely terrifying. And like Melmetal, that thing is too big to stay at your house, dude. And like it just turning around could smash one of your walls, and then you've got a lot of repairs to think about. So I've got to put these at rental only because they're destructive, not on the other scale of the other 3, but can basically reduce your house to nothing very quickly without you having any say in it.
I think that
Mercury is pretty poisonous and it'll make you lose your mind.
He's not made of mercury, though.
Don't lick it. Yeah, exactly.
What's the difference?
I think that he would be a best buddy, but let's put it to a vote. Who thinks that he's a mortifying monster? Myself, Nathan, and AJ have their hands raised. Keep it raised if you think it's contentious. All right, all 3 of our hands are still raised. Raise it if you think it's a best buddy. Well, all 3 of ours are still raised. Keep it raised if you think it's fantastic. All right, there we go. Selby gets to be kept company by both Meltan and Melmetal. All right, we got 2 more pokes that we got to rank. Number 1 is Zarude. This is a dual grass dark type Pokemon that was introduced relatively recently. It is a simian Pokemon that inhabits deep jungles, and despite its dark typing, it's known to be a pretty nice and helpful Pokemon. Its signature move is Jungle Healing, which allows it to heal the health of its allies.
Yeah, no, I I'm a big fan of Zarude. Not normally domesticated, but if it is domesticated, it will really take care of you. It will protect you. Fiercely loyal. In terms of destruct, it is a powerful Pokemon, but again, we have to weigh that up with his healing powers. I like it. I like Zarude.
Any other strong thoughts?
It looks horrifying, but you're saying it's actually really cool and not a jerk like the other rental.
Yeah, like this Pokemon.
They're very seclusive. They have their own society. They don't really fuck with society. They're happy to keep to themselves. Really,
it's an example of like a dark type Pokemon that, like, its nature very much bellies its dark typing, where it's actually like quite nice if you were to get to know it.
Kind of like a Houndour or a Houndoom.
Yeah, sure.
They look badass, but they're probably good pets.
Yeah. I would put this one at Fantastic Friend. Let's put it to a vote. Raise your hand if you think it is a mortifying monster.
Hands up.
Everybody raises. Keep it raised if you think it's contentious.
Hands up.
Keep it raised if you think it's a best buddy.
Hands up.
Mitch's hand goes down. Keep it raised if you think it's fantastic.
Hands up.
Well, AJ's drops. Raise your hand if you think it is man's best Pokemon.
Hands down.
All right, only Nathan, which means that this Pokemon is going at Fantastic Friend, which means that we only have one final mythical Pokemon.
Can I say, before we get to the final mythical
Yes.
Pokemon, if people in the chat have watched the first Pokemon movie and maybe stopped there, I very much think the movie that this Pokemon appears in is very much worth watching. So give it a watch.
It was interesting because it was sort of like a culmination of multiple movies that came before it, which was up until that point not really something that the Pokemon movies did. Of course, we're talking about Arceus, the namesake.
Oh, I've heard of this Pokemon
game that is releasing in a couple of days. Hence the reason why I kept it to the end. This is said to be the god of all Pokemon. Again, said to be. It's not objectively the god of all Pokemon. It depends on who you talk to.
Are there atheist Pokemon who don't believe in Arceus?
Well, we'll see what kind of mythology gets added to the legacy of Arceus. And also, are you guys Team Arceus or Team Arceus?
There's a C in it, so Arceus.
Okay,
they've in the anime they've done both, where it's Arceus and Arceus.
Most recent trailer that the Pokemon Company put out for this game called it Legends Arceus. And I actually have a legitimate reason as to why it's Arceus over Arceus, but we can discuss that after if we have time.
Listen, this is not Countdown. There's no dictionary corner here. Please.
Look, Silvali's ability is the RKS system. If they wanted it to be Arceus, it would be the RCS system. So it's Arceus.
I got nothing for that.
I figured as much. Go ahead, Kinsley.
No, I don't have anything else to say other than that. I mean, who doesn't want to have God on their side as a pet?
Yeah,
again,
this thing,
literally God. It would fuck up everything everywhere. You put this thing in a cage and you throw away the key like the Pokemon Company has done for the last 20 years.
Worth pointing out, even though it is the god of Pokemon, its stat distribution is such that it doesn't have like the single highest like attack stat of all Pokemon. It's not like the most offensive Pokemon ever in existence, but its stats are very well rounded and does have a very large pool of moves to pull from.
The fact that this thing can turn into any type at once, very much like in the early days of like Gen 4 Ubers, Gen 5, like this thing was like way too powerful. It was broken beyond recognition. This thing is too powerful for its own good.
All right.
You can't let it live.
Who here thinks that this is a mortifying monster? Raise your hand. Well, Mitch, are you not... Do you think this thing is rental only?
Yes. This shit should never see the light of day.
Kumail, you think it's rental
only?
No,
well? Mitch is absolutely right on this one.
I know I am. God damn it.
All right. Keep it raised if you think it's a contentious creature. Keep it raised.
You fuckers!
It's
trolling.
I hate this so much.
Keep it raised if you think it's a best buddy.
Let's get it to number one.
This is my last episode of Press YYZ. This has been fun. Thanks, everybody.
Mitch, this has been the long con. This has been the long con. They planned this.
Mail, are you looking for a new co-host? I mean, I think I might have just had some time open up.
Let's skip to the top.
I love you there.
Raise your hand if you think it is man's best Pokemon. Oh, AJ
AJ
lowered
lowered
his
us.
hand, which means that it is going to have
Done
to
that at the
go
goddamn beginning.
at fantastic friend.
All right, we're running long, so I don't think we have time to recap the list. But if you want to see the final list and the fact that the only Pokemon that is deserving of being your best friend is Shaman, I'm sure we're going to share that out on Twitter, so you can just check it out there.
This
By
has been a
all means.
fantastic ranking. I've enjoyed
Yeah,
It's
think
a
we
very
nailed it.
good list. More should have been at Pokemon's best friend. Pokemon.
I like how
all
Mitch
of
is
them?
going to be tossing and turning, thinking like
I
these fuckers would destroy the world. I can't trust them anymore.
I mean, I already thought that, and this list just proves it.
Nathan, I'm in agreement. I think that more Pokemon should have ranked at the top. But let's not belabor things any longer. Thank you for tuning in to Press YYZ. If you enjoyed the broadcast, be sure to follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can also check us out on Twitter at Press YYZ and slide into our Discord at invite.gg/PressYYZ to keep the conversation going. Kumail, if people want to find you on the interwebs, where can they find you?
A few places really. Kumail HKUMAILH on Twitter. PokeRamble.com for the PokeRamble podcast. Mitch has appeared on a couple of occasions and hopefully a couple more in the future.
You just let me know.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Mitch,
Of
literally,
course.
I could tell him at the last minute and he'll be there. Thanks so
Yeah,
much.
you
man.
need me Sunday morning on my birthday to talk about Legends Arceus. I'm there. Like,
You can find me on Simply Sassy Vids. We've got a Patreon up for Simply Sassy Vids, so any support would be great on that. Apart from that, yeah, that's pretty much it. No, thanks for the opportunity. It's been a lot of fun. I found out that Nathan's the person that
That's
should not be
another
trusted in this
mythical
group.
Pokemon. Nathan.
Yeah.
well, that's just Nathan's Digimon form. He's trying to, circumvent this whole thing from the inside.
I'm saying Digimon are better, but also I would like to just point out that I might be a good podcast host or guest if you'd like to just have me describe Pokemon based on names, because that could be fun.
It is a
Fire
fun
alley.
bit that we keep going back to.
All
No.
right.
Thanks again, everybody.
Until next time, thank you for playing.